That happened last time. Oh dear me. Hello and welcome to Stint 2 of Round 2 of the AEquepaX Racing GT World Endurance Championship. This is the second stint of 2 hours of this round from Spa Franchorchamps. The first session completing moments ago, as we're doing a lobby reset before qualifying, before the second stint begins. But we finally get to see the full livery for the AAA car, the Trail Brake Races. Last week there was a number and not much else, but now we've got a full livery, and boy are we glad to see it. Once again, you know, usual Gran Turismo spec issues, but this is much more positive, seeing more of these liveries actually showing up first try. So it's pretty handy. VSC livery, black and white, no idea if it's meant to be. We'll find out when someone tells us if that is the correct colour scheme showing up, but I think we're doing a lot better this week than we are last week, because we only found out after the race that people's liveries hadn't loaded properly. THG, one of their McLarens showing up. Slightly different between the two THG cars, between Sonam and Mike there. Sonam is a replacement driver compared to last week. He is filling in for Waterskin in THG, the Humble Guys. Thingamajig letting us know it is black and white success. Mike, the regular driver for THG Racing for Holland, who's just snuck out the pit lane. That's the Stostilla Racing Team car with STS frequency in it. He had a pretty solid run last week. A couple of mistakes just held him up, but overall this car and this team have been very strong. Good looking car, great choice in the Alfa Romeo, just a little bit different to everyone else, and hopefully that gives them a little bit more success and allows them to pursue a better result than people would expect from the little Alpha. THG TSO40, that also appears to be in full colour, with the traditional red, white and blue colours in whatever order they are. Because every country thinks their country is the first and only country to have red, white and blue as a form of patriotism. But spoiler, it's most of them. Damn you, England. Fred Dude in the AEquepaX Racing Supra. Can't really show much more of it than that, but it is looking to have loaded. Servo Motorsport with SMM Shadow at the wheel, a Ford GT, just like Evil Dragon in the full throttle racing car. I think Evil is no, he is the main driver. It was rotary and slowly last week, so the regular driver is back in the car for the FTR boys. I think we're still missing one driver from the earlier session to reappear. And speak of Evil, try to get him some on-track footage, and he comes back to the pits. It's how it is, I guess. Alright, let's find someone on track to follow. Oh, cheeky bit of sandbagging. Love to see it. So returning this week again, we've got RS Binko. Man was very unlucky last week in the other VRC car, the Virtual Racing... No, sorry, Binko is in the VRC Motorsport car, I apologise, whereas it is the black and white car, which is, oh, they're both VRC. One's VRC Racing, one's VRC Motorsport. Right, so VRC Motorsport driver RS Binko was very unlucky last weekend on the back end of a couple of lag-induced incidents. Saw him get turned 3 different times in incidents that were not his fault to be in the scenario, and definitely not really at fault the other drivers for actually causing the issue. They just happened to be nearby when the game decided that no one's allowed to have anything nice. As we have the lobby reset, which means qualifying is green. We have 12 minutes of qualifying. No, I don't want to enter, I want to spectate. Jeez me. Qualifying is underway as you hear everyone loading in with a bit of latency, a bit of sliding around. We'll see who is able to get out on track first. Qualifying is now 12 minutes. Harry letting us know we will get rain. The rain is a threat, so the weather is set to random, and rain may arrive, so keep an eye on your radars. I don't know if we would get a radar screen up to be able to try and keep an eye on it for you from the commentary booth. So any rain that does appear will be a surprise to us, but hopefully not to the drivers, who have obviously crafted their strategies around dry weather running until the rain arrives. Hopefully they pick their tyres, pick their fuel at the right time, and can maximise any weather that comes, because of course it's how well you can get onto the correct tyre at the correct time. Being too early or too late by a lap, well, being late by a lap can cost you a easily a pit stop. Being too early, it doesn't sound like the worst thing, but with 3 times tyre wear and 3 times fuel burn, that tyre wear on a dry track could prove very, very costly. As we see some dueling already. Oh, and a 3-second penalty for... He hasn't even left the pits and he's been given a 3-second penalty for contact. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, poor Gély. Oh no, of the trail brake racing. So unfortunately, I think the penalty zone is... I don't know what the penalty zone is actually. Hopefully he can clear that 3-second penalty on this lap and make a clean first lap at this qualifying session, as I think he will struggle to get the next set of tyres in. What is it? It was 2 minutes 15 sort of thing. So, well, no, you could get a second run in. You could get a second lap in if you left the pit lane immediately. Yeah, I think it feels like it is, to be honest with you, Harry. I think the penalty zone is on the front straight, but we'll find out. We'll follow him. We'll follow our current leader on track. Oh no, it's me. Let's be out of Blanchimont. So out of Stavelo up to Blanchimont, because it's a huge penalty loss because you lose time all the way down. SOE Kevin letting us know that SBM Caliber will join the lobby soon. He is the winner from Stint 2 in round 1, Trial Mountain. We'll be hoping to go back to back. I didn't see who won the first stint. Reminder that the whole series operates on a championship points perspective. So individual races are seen as... Oh, that was the pits. That was Shadow grinding the wall on the way in. So he's gone out on mediums and has come in for softs, which means he will be running this race, or at least the start of this race, on medium tyres and has had to swap to softs for qualifying. And that is something everyone has to remember. You either are planning to start on softs or you are going to have to come in for softs at the start of qualifying. I think particularly let us know that FTR won. I'm trying to pull up some results, but it's not going well because that's always how these things go. But important he doesn't impede. Yeah, that's very good sportsmanship there. Making sure everyone gets through. We'll follow SCS Frequency and the Stossilla Racing Team up through Eau Rouge. Flat. No real drama. Just kissing the curbs. Beautiful stuff. But yes, so the championship works purely on points based off every single race. There are no carryover statistics from Stint 1 into Stint 2. They are individual races, and the points will be added up at the end of each round for a round winner and at the end of the season for a championship winner. So the championship positions are probably, they are now different from where they were at the start of the event. However, I don't have an updated leaderboard for you based on all results being provisional. I had a crack at trying to sort them out last time, and I was so far off it was not worth trying again. Clean lines, not seeing anything to worry about, just a little bit extra curb there, but it's okay, no problems. And Caliber has joined the room, starting qualifying a little late, but he will start not on the back if he can just get a lap in. One winner was Mr. Slowly of I think it was full throttle, sorry. Got distracted there as I was starting to look at the gaps. STS Frequency with a 2:15.5 on his first lap. Banging lap. He's got 1.6 over the field at this moment. Obviously everyone hasn't come through yet, but that's a huge lead over everyone. Ooh, a bit of warping to pits there. Who was that? Oh, it's Caliber joining the room. That makes sense. Ah, much better. Sonam putting it within 4/10 of the STS Stosilla Racing Team car. There are still 5 and a bit minutes left, so people... Ooh, he would not be... it'd be very tight for Sonam to come in, get a fresh set. So I think he'll have to try as hard as he can on this lap, and then that will be him done. I think it's through 5 minutes. No, he could do it. He could do it. He could come in, get a fresh set of tyres, and just sneak around before the 12-minute mark ended. Have no confirmation on how qualifying actually works, if it's 12 minutes is over and that's it, or if it's 12 minutes and finish your lap. I'd be surprised if it wasn't 12 minutes and finish your lap, but Sonam 1/10 up on himself already on this lap. He's going to have to go flat out either way. There is no other choice. But currently in P3, it's Aris Pinko in the Toyota Supra for the VRC Motorsport car. He'll be very happy with that. 2:17.0, not the strongest time, but it's third right now. Only 1.4 off the lead, but we've still got Caliber to come. Caliber yet to leave the pits, so probably still loading everything in. He will get one flying lap by the looks of things. I'm not sure if he's aware he can join. He has joined now. So he has got 8 minutes. He will get one flying lap and will be the first to be done. So Mike, THG Mike, in the McLaren. He's 2/10 down. He may not improve unless he had a really sloppy final chicane. But he is in fourth, and he's clear of Evil Dragon, who is the FTR car, I believe. Yes, the Full Throttle Racing Team. And they won the first stint, so P6 would not be ideal, but I suspect he's on a better lap this time by. Of course, the wind direction always playing a role. It changes the pace, so what could have been a terrible lap in the first stint could be a brilliant lap right now, depending on where the wind direction was pointing and where it is pointing. Evil Dragon improves up to 5th, but he's now behind my brain will eventually remember this is the Trailbreak Racing Team car. Behind the Trailbreakers. Oh, but they're up 2/10, to Sector 1, and unfortunately he's very worn on tyres. He will be forced to finish this lap and hope that it's quicker, but he is behind SMM Shadow in the Super Motorsport car. He too is up at Sector 1. So guys are improving on worn tyres as the session progresses. And Stosilla runs wide and Frequency gets rear bumper damage, but I don't think this lap was going to be improvement. But he's been pipped at this moment by Sonam. He was down. He was down earlier in the lap, but he's pulled it together and he's currently on pole in the McLaren 650. We saw TSO40 come in and hasn't gone anywhere. He needs to clear the first sector for the game to realise that he's not in P11, so if he stays there, it might cause some sort of glitch. That used to happen in GT Sport, where if you set a lap, come into the pit lane, it didn't rank you correctly. So TSO40, who's 1.5 off the lead, would be 7th place at the moment, just in front of his THG counterpart in THG Mike, but he's got a penalty, and he will not be improving on this lap. I'm surprised that TSO40 has stayed in the pits for as long as he has. I thought he was going to come in, get some fresh tyres and go again, but unfortunately he hasn't got time now. That 12-minute mark will be up before he finishes his lap. I don't know if anyone can improve, so this will be interesting. We'll just keep an eye on everyone who's crossing the line now. I think they're down though with that off earlier in the lap, but he gets one more chance to cross the line. So he was down on that previous lap. Shadow comes in, he's done, he's got damage, banging off the wall. Trailbreak Racing also improved in the last lap, was a 26.1. He's up into 4th, just ahead of Fred Dude with a 26.3, who's just ahead of Aris Bingo, who also improved. Can he improve on this lap? Well, his second last lap, he could in theory do one more. But Shadow's in, and I'd say he's done at this point. I don't know if there's a live timing anymore, so I can pull that up to see who's on a quick one. I'm just going to sort of guess. But it's tighter at the front. That early lead for the Stocil Racing team has come down, but they're still in second place. That early lap is paying off for them. Binko a bit wobbly on the lag. Does improve on lap 4, and he jumps Fred Dude in the AequepaX Racing team. So Binko has come out this week with an agenda. He is out to prove his power after being bullied by lag last week. He's had enough of that. He wants to come out swinging today. If he can find just another 10th, he can put himself 4th on the grid. Oh, geez, that looked like a big slide up Eau Rouge. We'll run on through. That's TSO 40, and that's 12 minutes, so he's done. He will not be able to improve as he goes off the road. Not sure if that's intentional. And here's Caliber, the man I'm expecting pole position from. A little bit of lag from him, so that could be interesting, but it should be a quick lap. It's always a quick lap. No! Oh, it's the Gran Turismo logic, so he will start last. Gran Turismo, 12 minutes starts, and then that's it. Time's up. So, pole position for THG Sonam in the Humble THG Racing team. Then Stocilla second, SMM Shadow for Soap Motorsport third, Jelly from Trailbreak, RS Binko for VRC Motorsport, Fred Dude, AccuPax Racing, Evil Dragon, FTR, THG, 8th. Ooh, I've got to back out and come back in. Forgot about that one. I'll eventually get used to all the weirdness of Gran Turismo. So TSG TSO 40 down in 8th place after what looked like a strong qualifying. 9th place will be THG Mike for the third THG car. One of them's racing for Holland, one of them was Racing Team Netherlands, and the other one is the Humble Guys. Who's got a run? Alright, there we go. We'll go straight to onboard with the Mazda RX Vision GT. Unable to get a good run on the Soap Motorsport car. Trail break. He'll have to make a big dive if he wants to overtake here on lap 1, but I can't see that happening. That would be very risky, and he pulls out of it. Fred Dude racing super on super, unable to catch up Dragon. Looked like he defended there, but there's not really anyone close enough. Caliber already passed Noxie in the VRC racing car. So SBM Caliber is defending Stint winner, and his teammate had a decent race, as I recall. It should have been... Ooh. I thought it was a top 5, but I might be wrong. Anyway, his job is to carve his way through the field. So last time out, he was out front with comfy, no pressure, no stress. Now he's going to have to work his way forward to then fight for the lead. And anyone with pace is going to be hoping that he can't do that too easily. But it's 1 down, 9 to go for Caliber. Looks like he's struggling with a bit of oversteer, and that the way the steering's come off, a bit of oversteer as well in the middle. So the Subaru Turbo RX not treating him nearly as nicely as it did its Trial Mountain. Go towards the leaders, and again, Trailbreak Racing getting a run on the Soap Motorsport car, but the top speed of the Ford GT, even though he's giving off a massive slipstream, just keeping it ahead. And now towards the end of the straight here, we're starting to see gains. Can he throw a dive? He could. Not quite enough to get alongside. I've no idea what it looks like for these two. They could be seeing lag for each other. They could be perfectly fine. It could just be me who sees lag, because of course I'm on the other side of the world from the European contenders we have on hand here. Good exit. Oh, very good exit. Now this is going to be great. Have a quick check-in. Sonam with a 1.5 second lead of STS frequency. So the Stocilla boys, 4 seconds up. But Trailbreak Racing, 2/10 behind the Ford Motorsport Ford GT. If I can finish the sentence. This time he's a lot closer. Surely the slipstream kicks in. So Motorsport taking a slightly defensive line. He's actually got overspeed this time. He will be able to make a move. Sober doesn't block, leaves it wide open, pulls out of the slipstream and nothing happens, but gets a little bit deeper on the brakes. He's able to get alongside but can't do anything. Needed to do a slingshotty move to sneak up the inside after Bakum and was unfortunately unable to do so, so he's stuck behind Shadow for yet another lap. They've lost 4 seconds on this lap. I think Shadow's on mediums, yes he is, and the Trail Break Racing car is on soft, so Shadow, the only man on mediums at this stage, I think. Everyone, oh, Mike and TSO40 have been passed by Caliber. I don't know how he's pulled that off, he's just appeared and gone through them one after the other. So everybody on softs except for Shadow, and that's why Shadow is 6.5 seconds off the lead, and it's why he's under pressure into Piff Path. Slightly wide of the line, but he'll have the inside for the next part. No, not enough grip in the RX Vision GT, but he's stuck on the outside now for Stavilo. He will cut back. He will now go get underneath it. Now it's up to Sober just hanging on around the outside. I thought he would be forced to lift out, but now he's got far more power. The AEquepaX racing car with a slipstream, but you can't defend the straight line of the Ford GT. AEquepaX will go straight through with Fred, and instead of gaining a position, he's lost a position. But he's now got himself in the right spot. Oh, a bit of contact there. And unfortunately for Fred, he's then ended up losing in the braking zone. They both need to clear Shadow, and Shadow's gone wide. Big slide, and has lost both positions. But because of the speed of that car, he will be flying up the next straight. Binko's alongside him. Hopefully Binko can hold him off. Binko, no lunge. I thought he was going for a move there. And there's another Ford GT, so expect Fred to make a move on, so the AequepaX car to make a move on the Trail Break Racing car. Expect Shadow to come back from a mile away here in the Sub Motorsport car. Binko will come with. He's not quite close enough, nor is Evil, and Caliber's right there. He might get stuck on Evil, but for the moment, we'll watch. Fred doesn't quite have the run. It's a big overspeed, but it's not enough, I don't think, to get there. It'll be a bit of a dive. He doesn't make the move. Binko clears. Caliber just dives up the inside, pings off the Cyber Motorsport car, and gets through. He's done 2 for 1. Evil Dragon in the full throttle car's gone with him. Caliber just outbraking everyone by about 20 meters there. Good Lord. So everyone getting past the medium shod SMM Shadow. I don't know what the strategy was in the previous race, but that could be very helpful where he's held up this whole mid-pack. There's a huge gap between Trail Break Racing in third and the Stossilla Racing team. And around goes the Trail Break Racing car. That's going to cost him. He's going to recover in 10th place. That is not ideal for him, but it's a free position for Caliber, and he's going to have to pass Shadow all over again. All right, can Caliber pick up Binko? Oh, much better mid-range power for the Subaru. He's just accelerated his way up onto the back of the Supra. The Supra known for top speed. How's Fred done that? That cannot be real. Fred's just turned right in a left-hand corner. Binko unable to come back through. Evil Dragon going around the outside in the full throttle car. The VRC Motorsport car. Too wide through the final chicane. A little bit of a bump, but Binko survives. What happened to Fred? I do not understand what I just saw. The car's gone right in the nothing corner, which is before Blanchimont. Oh, that's unreal. Fred must have disconnected. No, he's back. I don't understand. That's unreal. Anyway, fastest man on track with a 2:14.7. THG Sonam in one of the Humble Guys cars. 1.3 seconds ahead of STS Frequency for Stossilla Racing Team. Both of those guys, half a tenth apart on the previous lap. And the soon-to-be the fastest man, oh geez, I missed Evil Dragon and Binko going side by side into Lecoum. Maybe a bit of lag there, pushing Evil Dragon wide and causing a bit of drama. So for once, he's not the loser on the end of the lag penalty. Evil Dragon gets a 5/10 penalty for cutting the chicane, even though I'm pretty sure he did not gain any time at all and has definitely lost ground. And Caliber goes off. He's dropped it on the exit of Speaker's Corner, formerly No Name, and Binko unable to... Oh, does get up the inside, so dirty tyres for Caliber means he didn't have the grip through Puon, and now Evil Dragon comes through. What a crazy race this is turning out to be. Last time out there was a few issues, but the boys at the front were consistent, smooth, no dramas. We've seen 4 guys fall off. Shadow had a moment. Now Evil falls off. Caliber's fault. He's going to have trouble with dirty tyres getting it stopped and turned, which means TSG 40 will find himself up into 5th place as he gets up the inside of Evil Dragon, and Evil will eventually slow down on the penalty zone, but I think he'll be able to just hang on to the slipstream. Not quite. So it's going to cost him more than 5/10 that one. Wow, this race has just been full chaos. So a lot of very unstable cars. Guys have taken a lot of trouble to try and make the car turn, potentially from last week, with lower rear downforce settings to compensate for the fact that Spa has long straights, and we're seeing that stability really punishing drivers. So Caliber will have to pass Binko again on this lap. Sonam's got himself a penalty, and he's going to be under threat from Stasila at the end of the straight. And Caliber, he might be too close. He'll actually be have to actually give up his run on Binko before Arouge. No, he just gets it timed right. Bit of understeer, but he'll be okay. Stasila up the inside, as expected. And he's through to the lead. Caliber, will he launch a move on Binko? He will. He has to. He's been doing it all day. Yep, just clean out breaks him, takes the first apex, takes the second apex, and Caliber's done his job and he's away. TSO 40 in 5th, Evil Dragon close by. Don't think they... Well, the way this race is going, I'll look back and everyone will have changed. Oh, Mike runs wide, needs to get it back on the road and manages to hold on. Bit awkward there, that's just lost him a bit of ground. It's going to bring the guys behind him back into play. And that dirty tyres, people are not compensating for the fact they have got no grip after being off the road. It's like dirty tyres is much worse here than it was last week out. Shadow, is he alongside? Yes, he is. So Mike loses another place on the back of yet another mistake going off the road. Shadow on mediums. The strategy's starting to come back to him as everyone is stuck behind him. So Mike, Fifth Humble guys, the Trail Break Racers are also stuck in there with the VRC racing car. All looking in this train, desperate to get by, but they are struggling to get by the straight line speed of that Ford GT. If you're going to get it done... Oh, no, it's Binko. He's spun now as well. Oh, VRC Motorsport, they'll be devastated. He was running so well at the front. Another one for the books. Another man sacrificed to the gods early in this race. We are not even 12 minutes in and we've seen 6 or 7 cars drop off the road. Shadow at this stage 22 seconds off the Stasila Racing team, who are in first. That's getting very near to a pit stop. So Shadow needs to find some pace on these tyres if he wants to win this stint, win this race, but for the moment he's in P6, and P6 is not a bad result. The guys that are behind him that are probably quicker than him on the softs, they will be ruining that. This could come back to hurt all of them. Shadow was doing 220s and suddenly on a 217. Was he just coasting around looking after fuel? I suspect he was trying to save you, and he's lost it up at Rouge, and he's in the wall. Oh my lord, another off. And then spins on the stupid AstroTurf, which isn't slippery, it's just bumpy, and it makes no sense. Binko will hopefully clear him safely, and there's Fred as well. This is unreal. We've seen so many cars fall off the road here today. And Shadow is now last. What a crazy race this is turning out to be. Fred's even got a 221 in there. Did he have... Oh, the game's probably given him a penalty for crashing off the road in a corner where he's definitely lost ground because, ooh, barrier contact. Anyway, we'll go back to the leaders, check in on Stasila Racing. The rears are wearing faster than the front, so if their car probably starts a little understeery and then becomes a little oversteery, so if they've got that balance just right, that car will get better through the stint as he continues to do 2 minute 14 laps. Those are quick. Sonam. As Jose put it, the Greek alien has been unleashed for the Humble Guys racing team. As he is their reserve driver. Jose, I thought, was unavailable, but is in the chat, so maybe he's working but not working. Doing a bit of a sneaky stream watch to keep an eye on his teammates. And this is the Humble Guys team. Oh, a bit of a wobble there. So we're expecting 7-ish laps, I think, for the soft tyre runners. Caliber, oh, those tyres are cooked already for him. He's going to have to do a 7th lap on very, very tired tyres. The Toy Supra of the THG team have much better tyres. And Evil Dragon's in. The left rear is gone. So, this is interesting. The massive speed of the Ford GT is being very aggressively attacked, don't know why I'm looking at nothing, by their tyre wear. And Evil Dragon... Sorry, and Binko also comes in. Sorry, I thought it was Shadow coming in. I was very confused for a second. So, yeah, it looks like the guys who are in have very aggressive tyre wear. Shadow, with that 2:30, I think the mediums are not working for him because the fuel burn is just too high for him at this stage. He would need... I guess he'll still do 10 laps. It's about looking at his team of his Ford compatriot. They've got a similar sort of fuel burn, surely, because the gearboxes are all the same. Mike defending Noxie. So there are some soft tyre runners with a lot of depth, and there are some with not as much depth. So I guess that's why Shadow is trying the mediums, because the softs aren't lasting long enough. Doing 6 laps would be 9 stints, I think, which is a very, very long time. A very long time spent in the pits. Whereas if you can do 10 laps, I think 9 laps is probably ideal on the mediums, you can get away with only 5 pit stops. Everything's sort of calmed down here. Now, will Sonam go for an 8th lap? Let's find out. He's got slightly better tyres than the car front, and not as good fuel, better fuel than the Alpha, so that's interesting. Must be all the revving out there doing to try and maximise 5th gear before the 6th gears kick in, and they just do not accelerate. Now, if Sonam can find an 8th lap here, he might have a strategy advantage. Stossilla's in! Sonam continues! So that'll be interesting. He will get undercut quite aggressively in this stint, but it might be able to save him a pit stop at the end of the race if he can continue to do these 8-lap stints. So maybe a bit risky on the first one, because you start with a full tank and these soft tyre runners are only burning 70 litres of fuel. Caliber's in, but boy, are those tyres worn out. Those big late braking moves have really punished his car. TSO40 also going for 8 laps. Surprising. So these guys are going to give up track position here on this lap because they'll give up the value of an undercut. So brand new tyres and 70, 80 litres of fuel will be a faster car than doing 216s, 217s on worn tyres. So they'll lose 2 or 3 seconds. So Caliber's in. Shadow spun again on the exit of bus stop chicane, and he's been collected by the full throttle car. I think, that has affected him too. He hasn't been given a penalty, thankfully, but the ghosting, if there was any, has ended. Oh, this has gone to pot for Shadow. He's having a shocking run. That's 2 spins in 2 laps, and he comes out just behind the Trailbreak Racing team on brand new tyres, but he will have a run and he will have a slipstream. So, oh no, he doesn't have a slipstream. He might get to it though, but I think he's too far back, or we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. If he can get into it, it's too late. He'll get there, but he won't be able to make a dive on his worn medium tyres. So, that's a huge win for these guys, for the Trailbreak Racing team. If he can break free now, look at that, 3/10 under braking alone. So Shadow is super uncomfortable with this car on those mediums. It's just not working for him, not giving him the grip he needs. The temperature could be dropping. We're seeing the afternoon the sun start to set in the afternoon here. The light's getting more and more orange, less white, which means the light is scattering through more atmosphere, making it more yellow. You can see Mike in the background, also trying to make ground. Let's have a look. Have THG fallen off the road? Not yet, but their tyres are very worn. Oh, big squirrel there. Just got to be nice and safe into the pits. These guys, oh, with heaps of fuel. He's got quarter of a tank left. He could go almost 11 laps on the mediums. TSO40 also with about a quarter tank of fuel, so they're in really good shape, the THG cars, in terms of doing those long runs. I would expect the tyre wear to be better in the next stint, carrying less fuel. They will only need 75 litres of fuel, so their pit stops will also be slower because they've gone an extra lap and they plan to go an extra lap. So Stossila will take over the lead and they'll have 5, 6, maybe even 7 or 8 seconds in their hand. But Sonam will now be chasing them down on a different strategy. He will have the fresh tyres now. So in the early stint, Sonam was quicker than Frequency, but Frequency got him at the end of the stint. Right now, Sonam will have that advantage reversed. He will be the one with better legs as the stint goes on because he has fresher tyres by a lap. So even if they degrade slightly quicker, by the time they come in, it will balance out. Sonam rejoins in second. Caliber is third after his first pit stop. Evil Dragon should take fourth. He does. For the Full Throttle boys, they won the first stint and they're in the championship contention, so fourth place would be a fantastic result for them. And the Trailbreak Racing team just gets ahead of TSO40, but TSO40 in the slipstream needs to make a move, needs to get by right here, right now, because he has fresher tyres and he gets a huge slipstream. Slingshot to front, needs to block and make sure that they can't get back through, and he does so. Oh, looked a bit deep. He has to stay ahead here if he wants this strategy to work. If he gets stuck behind another car, he will lose ultimate time on those tyres because now he has the grip advantage, he has to use it. Hopefully he doesn't burn those tyres out, because if he's going to do 8 laps, that's why he needs to stay ahead, because being stuck behind someone else gives you dirty air, you get less downforce, less grip. You have to work the tyres harder in order to stay in touch, and doing so will burn them out faster. So any laps he can stay in clean air ahead of someone else, holding them up, is going to be beneficial. But he runs wide out onto the deadly AstroTurf and he drops in behind. He'll get another crack though out of Stavelo up towards bus stop to try and get by, but this is not ideal. This is where he needed to be ahead, saving his tyres, not fighting. That's 6/10. He's probably going to struggle. Oh, huge gain there for the Trailbreak Racing, but he was deep and he's lost ground. This should put TSO40 right onto the back of him, but he lost time through Whitehouse, I think it is there. So he's actually ended up losing ground and will not get the pass done. We'll have a quick look through, see if anyone's close. So it's 4 seconds first to second. Caliber with big deg. Alright, we have Mike and Shadow. Mike needs to pass Shadow, and Shadow running out of tyres, running out of fuel. He should get one more lap. Mike doesn't take the move. Needed to get that done. Shadow will not pit for at least on the lap, and I think it has to be on the next lap because I don't think he's got much fuel left. And it's a 2:18. Oh, Binko, no, in the background. Big squirrels on the lag. And Fred Dude, one of the protagonists of last week, still nowhere. Obviously a pit stop in there, but he hasn't really made an impression. His best lap is a 2:15.9. Caliber with a 2:14.2, the fastest man on track. So the McLaren with those 2:14s, not far off pace. Not the worst choice in cars. Sonam doing a great job this week. McLaren's looked a bit useless last time out, but they're actually looking quite viable this week. As even Mike's having a stronger race. Oh no, but he hasn't got it behind Shadow. He's going to be stuck there for another lap, waiting for Shadow to hit, hopefully on this lap for him. Shadow feels like he needs to go another stint almost to try and stay ahead. And TSO40, 1 second back now, so he's not going to be able to make a move on the Trailbreak Racing team. I'm just not going to try and pronounce the Finnish name. It's not going to work. So I'm just going to stick to the team name because I can do that one. So I apologise. Normally if I struggle with a name, I ask for help with it, but I just haven't heard anything back from them in the chat. So Trailbreak Racing, car 888, doing what they need to do to finish top 5. I don't think Shadow is going to end up ahead of them because he hasn't even pitted yet and he's ended up behind these guys. Granted, he had a couple of spins and Mike's got through somewhere. Now that I look back, sorry everyone. But he's close enough maybe to have a run, but he shouldn't be able to on the grip alone that Mike has on those softs that are new and a better tyre. Should be... Oh, he had to lift. Okay, so that's probably why... Oh, wow, Shadow flat on mediums. Mike having to lift on brand new softs. So there's a lot of downforce in that Ford GT. But still very slippery in a straight line. It's gaining outright on the McLaren ahead of him. So, well-tuned car, just not loving the mediums in the lower speed. Oh, huge gains on the brake there, but he has to pit. Now, will he stay on mediums, or will he cut to softs? As we see Binko and Fred both jittering around just a little bit. Oh, don't tell me Shadow... Oh, no. Shadow spun before getting into pit lane. Oh, my gosh. Oh, that's very disappointing for him. So he's had to correct his car, not go into pit lane backwards and then get warped and then have to do 2 laps with no fuel. So he's actually got away with it to an extent, but that is not what Sauber Motorsport need. They are now dead last as he enters the pits for the first time at the 24-minute mark. Of course, this is a 2-hour stint. He's still got 96 minutes to come back, but that is not good for him, and that's very disappointing. That's a very quick car and a very good driver. As Fred goes up the inside of Binko, gets it done. That's the second car now he's overtaken. But both of these cars seemed quick. We know Fred is a good driver. We know he was quick last week out. Binko has had a great run today, other than that couple of mistakes. Now only 5 seconds behind Mike. They'll be working their way forward, trying to catch up to those lovely points-paying positions ahead, but they're 5 seconds behind Mike, who just set his personal best, who is 5 seconds behind his THG counterpart, who's now 6th, but on a different strategy. He has to make sure to look after those tyres. They looked very worn last time out, and hopefully with less fuel, he'll be able to make this strategy work. It could also be that everyone else was waiting for the fuel to come out to try the longer strategy, as we see the Trailboat Racing car 4 tenths up on his 2:15.6, so it's looking like a really good lap for him. He's turned on the afterburners and away we go. He needs to catch Evil Dragon in the Full Throttle Racing Ford GT. He knows what he needs to do to keep the Trailboat Racing car in contention in the championship. Top 5 finishes, getting on that podium every week. That's how you're going to keep your car in the running. A lot of marbles offline already, so I wonder if that's starting to play. Are the marbles offline starting to affect people? And it's a 2:15.0. It's a great lap time for the Trailboat Racing team. He pulls 1.2 seconds out of Evil Dragon. We are definitely not in my Mazda RX Vision GT car. Gran Turismo. This is definitely a Ford GT, so he made a second and a bit on that last lap, so he'll be within striking distance of a couple of laps, assuming Evil goes the extra lap, which I don't think he did. Caliber still doing incredible lap times. He's the fastest man on track, and his gap to the leaders has come down from the 16 seconds down to 12. He's only 8 behind Sonam, who is only 4.5 behind Frequency. So Stosilla leading this stint by 4 seconds. He's only gained half a second on the THG car on the previous during the stint. But he's got a 14.1 to his name, but unfortunately it was a 15.2 on that last lap and a 14.7 for Sonam. It's his personal best, but it's his third 14.7 in this race. He's got a 14.7 on laps 3, 6 and 11. He's doing well there. He needs to put a 14.7.8 here just to complete the set, because it's 0.4, 0.6 and 0.2. So, anyway, 7.2, 7.6, 7.4, whatever. Moving on, back to the racing. I'll stop looking at the funny numbers. No one really close at this moment. So still making another little gain. So it looks like the Humble Guys boys can't go flat through Stavilo, and it's costing them a couple of tenths in the run all the way up to bus stop. Whereas other guys can, and that's going to matter because that's an overtaking opportunity. And even if it's not an you just suddenly lost a bunch of time. That scared the hell out of me. Even if it's an overtaking opportunity in that moment, it sets you up for a good close run after the front straight here and La Source, up Eau Rouge and up the Camel Straight to give you the best run possible to make an attack. But Sonam losing 6 tenths on that lap. So Stosilla with a 14.6, Sonam with only a 15.2. So it looks like they're both a bit up and down on pace, but the lead has increased by 1.3 seconds in this stint. We need Sonam to keep that consistency up if we're going to see a fight for the lead between these two. But by the looks of things, Caliber will be in that fight in no time. He is motoring along, doing low 14s, high 13s. So he's closing on both of them to try and get back in this lead, but he has the worst tyre deg. The difference is his tyre deg takes him from a 13.8 to a 14.8, and he's still on pace with everyone else. So fastest man on track, Caliber, he doesn't have the track position now, but he's still got 90 minutes to make up 12 seconds. He is more than capable of that. So my current race favourite, SBM Caliber, once again to go back-to-back here today, but there's a lot of racing to go. We saw him make that mistake in the first stint. Anything could happen, and as we've seen so far, anything can happen. And now Evil Dragon starting to get closed on by the Trailbreak Racing team. I said striking distance within about a lap, and it's almost about a lap. 16, oh, he made a mistake on his previous lap. Oh, big slide there, just drifting through Speaker's Corner. It's cost him a couple of tenths, but what it's done is shaved a few years off his life as it scared the life out of him. They've got this Mazda on its nose, very, very twitchy, very unstable in the rear, and that might be what they need to make it turn, but geez, it's not nice to the driver. I'm going to run underwater at this pace, doing far too much talking, far too excited watching the chaos unfold. The wind direction has swapped around massively. It's gone from a west-southwest into an aggressive, sorry, east-southeast into an aggressive aggressive southeasterly, and that's what happens when you touch the green AstroTurf. He's off and he's in the wall. The Trailbreak Racing team running wide out of Stavilo there and touching the green AstroTurf, which is unnecessarily bumpy, and he has been thrown into the fence unceremoniously. Opts to use the runoff to get back onto the road nice and safely. Smart move, but he's now ninth. It's a huge loss. He's got damage to everything at this point. Thankfully, we are on weak damage because of the new damage model being absolutely abysmal for close combat racing, where any sort of contact results in damage. So Evil Dragon in on lap 12. No, in on lap 13. So he's done 6 and 7, which means he had to do the short stint in the first one and is doing the long stint in this one. So his strategy is probably not as dire as we were expecting. And Binko also on that strategy, and also the Trailbreak car. I wonder why he's come in. Does he know it's not heavy damage? Because he's got fuel, he's got tyres, but he's now got no damage, so he'll be very annoyed when he realises what's just gone on there. As we see Noxie in the VSC racing car, just on the back of Evering. He's gone to the mediums as well, so that'll be interesting. So someone needs to let the VRC boys know that you can start a qualifying session on the mediums, swap to the softs, and then start the race on the mediums still. It costs you a lap in qualifying, but it lets you start on your preferred tyre, because he was definitely on the softs at the start of this race. And that's the way you can start on your preferred tyre in the race without, and still be able to qualify on the soft tyre. Oh, struggling for grip in the understeer, but it looks like Evil Dragon on the soft should drive away from him. Well, that's mixed things up a little bit here, so we go back on board with Stossilla. They are in this lap. They are doing 7 lap stints, it looks like. That's their strategy. Oh, running very wide, has to just whip around the cone, gets away with it. And Sonam, he's lost 2 seconds of the stint, but he's still got at least 2 laps of fuel in this car, and it's a nice 2 minute 15 second lap. Not the greatest lap, but a strong one. Caliber also in. He's very much out of fuel and tyres, but he's doing 7 lap stints. Frequency is doing 7 lap stints, but it looks like Sonam will be doing 8 lap stints here, and that extra lap might pay off at the end of this race. We'll have to wait and see. And remember, he will once again lose a lot of ground over these next 2 laps. So the gap was 6 seconds, but he's going to lose a handful of seconds. He loses 1 second in extra fuel. He loses more time again in the fact that he's being undercut. Frequency's out of the pits, and he'll be ahead of THG TSO40 here. It's a bit disappointing for TSO40 to come out of the pits and already only be 3rd. And he still has to pit in a couple of laps himself, but he will be ahead for now of Caliber. which means once strategy plays out, he knows he's currently P3, but he will get passed by Caliber. It's a question of how high he can end up. Can he end up 5? Can he end up 6? 4 even, because if he loses to Caliber. And Frequency's been given a 3-second penalty. What for? I didn't see him cut anything. He's got no damage. So apparently Spa just gives the Stosilla Racing team a penalty every time it exits the pits. That's a huge loss for them. That's big for this race. Because that 3-second penalty will cost him far more than 3 seconds. Up the run out of Stavilo, up towards Blanchimont. This could put Sonam back in this race, and it also brings Caliber back to the front. Caliber's gap, it's 11 seconds. It was 12, and it's going to come down hugely. If anyone can get in touch with Stosilla and ask what's going on with that. Hit line penalties. Oh, Corey, thank you very much. So you can get penalties in Gran Turismo 7 for crossing the pit entry and exit lines. So if you get aggressive on those lines, you can be handed a pit lane penalty. So either on the entry or the exit, he's been done by the game, and they've handed him a 3-second penalty, which has cost him hugely. THG 40 was a second behind, and now he's 3.5 seconds ahead of him. It's cost him 4.5 seconds. It's going to be 4 seconds by the time he gets, 5 seconds by the time he gets down to La Source here. And Caliber's gone from 12 seconds off the effective leader down to 5. Oh, that's huge news for them. Terrible news for Frequency and the Stosilla Racing team, guys. But, oh, I completely forgot about those penalties. I've never really dealt with them because I'm so used to series organisers booking you for crossing white lines, so you just don't. That's big. That's going to bring Caliber into play so much earlier. Frequency's going to have to do some serious defending for the final hour of this race instead of maybe the last half hour. It's halved the gap instantly. Have a quick look back through the field for any fights. Oh, Vinko looked a little deep there in behind Mike. Oh, geez, that lag making it hard to see where he is. Fred and the Trailbreak Racing team look like they're having a stoush. Fred pitting on that lap and coming out ahead by the looks of things. Either Dane, who is obviously a THG fan, losing his mind at THG 1-2, but unfortunately for Dane, both those THG cars need to pit on this lap, and they will stop being 1-2. They will slide back to about 3 and 6 when that happens, I think. Maybe they'll be 2 and 6. It could be tight with Sonam and Frequency after Frequency lost 5 seconds in that pit stop with the penalty. A shout out though to Noxie for the VRC racing team. He's up in 6th place after swapping to the mediums. So he's decided that consistency is more important than ultimate grip and hopefully not making any more mistakes. Granted, he still owes us a pit stop, but he doesn't owe us for a little while, a couple more laps, and this clean air is doing good work for him. As we see Sonam in with 6 litres too many, he needs to cut those out, make that car a little bit lighter so that it looks after its tyres a little bit better. His tyres probably no better than they were in Stint 1. I'd say TSO 40s are a touch better, but he is now being destroyed by Frequency in this last lap. He was 4 seconds up, and he's only 2 seconds up now, as his tyres are very much gone. But that's his strategy. Oh wow, Caliber now 3.5 seconds. It's like a shark. Someone play the Jaws theme. He is closing at a crazy rate. Sonam could well end up 3rd after this pit stop, but he's on the pit exit. He's actually in the lead. Oh, big slide there. He'll probably get a penalty because this game makes no sense. He's currently in the lead, but Frequency will have a run on him and get slipstream. Whether or not he can get back the lead, I don't know, but this is a huge moment for the THG boys. He will be very confused to come out in the lead, but he has to focus on holding on to the lead because now he has a huge tyre advantage and he should be able to out-degrade the Stosilla Racing Team car, and he's able to hold the lead. So, Stosilla Racing, a great first sector, but he now is stuck behind THG Sonam in a fight for the lead. It's a straight fight now. It's no longer a strategy fight. Well, it probably still is, but this is a big change to the dynamic. Stosilla will go from running away to having to fight and then get ahead, and all the time he is stuck behind Sonam is time he is losing, because he was previously quicker in clean air. And if Sonam is in fact on a different strategy, and that does end up paying out a pit stop, this is a big blow to Frequency's chances for winning, especially because he's now being pushed closer back towards Caliber. The Terminator himself. Last week he started from pole, cruised away and destroyed everyone. Today he started last, just chewed through the field like it was not there. Just like everyone goes through a packet of crisps far too quickly and very eagerly. But he's now only 3 seconds off the lead after starting last. After going off the road, he is all over this one. Frequency, though, he's in the slipstream of Sonam. He has an opportunity to make a move into the bus stop. Will he make a move, or will he wait for later on to get a move up Eau Rouge down the Kemmel Straight? He's literally a tenth off him. He's touching the bumper, just kissing it. Will he launch a dive? No, had a look. He made an opportunity to pretend that he wasn't going to have a move. Then, feigns to make it look like he's not. Then has a look and then decides, oh, maybe not. So he goes to the outside, goes to the inside. Oh, not the smartest move to try and overtake into La Source. It's a position, but he's deep. And Sonam will get the cutback. And because, just gets away with running off the edge there. Almost fell completely off the edge. But he'll tuck back into the slipstream and have another dive up the back straight, up the Kemmel Straight into Lecum. And this is probably where you want to be making the move. He gets too close, has to lift. No, doesn't have to lift. So he'll be fine when he makes the move to be able to find a pull out. But he pulls out and loses the speed immediately. Oh, he's just got enough for an overspeed. He's up the inside. That's enough positioning to make the dive, but the better tyres on the McLaren. Sonam holds on around the outside by just braking later, and now Frequency on the outside after the Lecum section, unable to get by, and that's cost him another lap behind the THG racing car. Probably to do with that move at La Source. It just didn't set him up in the right place for the run, where it just ran out of steam at the wrong time. He needed to come with a bigger head of speed in order to make the pass, but he'll get another attempt because he is just quicker than the McLaren in front of him. Driving a fantastic race here, Frequency. He just needs to stay within touching distance, make that move, get by and get into some clean air to try and run away from Sonam, put a bit of distance between himself and Caliber to try and make those two different races play out. But Sonam, with the freshest tyres of the group here, has the most ultimate potential, even if he's not necessarily using all of it at every opportunity. So potentially having to save tyres a little bit in order to make it work in this 8-lap stint thing he's got going. And he actually pulled away a lot there through Stavilo. It's out to 8 tenths. It's Frequency not getting a slipstream, but he is quicker down the straight, so he will be able to pull back in, which means it's still on for the Kemmel Straight, but it's not on right now at the bus stop. Oh, loses a bit of ground under braking again, so the tyre wear really starting to hurt them. This is not playing out the way Stosilla needed to play out. I really thought he was going to clear Sonam and get back on with his mission and hopefully use Sonam as a bit of a blockade to Caliber. But when they pit next time through, Caliber will jump Sonam most likely. As will Frequency, obviously, but it means that Frequency is forced to fight Sonam, whereas Caliber won't, but that's definitely a cut for Frequency. That had to be over the backside of the curb, but he's got a good run this time. A big slingshot. He goes to the inside, this time with enough speed to get most of the way alongside, to get completely alongside. He's ahead, I think, going in there, and Sonam unable to fight back. Had to wait, has to back out. Now, Stosilla has to go. Frequency has to go very quickly. He's got only a couple more laps before his next pit stop. He's got 3 laps, sorry. So it looks like he's got more fuel on. He might be trying to go to 8 laps now. So if he goes to 8 laps, that changes the dynamic of this race completely as well. So Yeah, he's got more fuel than Caliber. I think Frequency is having a crack at 8 laps here. This strategy has changed once again. So maybe this was always part of the Stocilla plan, to do 7 laps, and then start doing 8 lap stints. I'm not sure, I haven't run out the numbers as to what the distance is, but with Stocilla in first right now, and his teammate Nibbles, taking 5th in the first race, they're on for another strong result, same as last week, where they are in contention for the championship lead. Sonam's going to have to make a move here, because I think Frequency is trying a different strategy. So Sonam, it looked like he had a strategic advantage. Obviously, someone from Stocilla, listening to the chat, heard the difference and thought, we have to try it. So Sonam needs to make a move here somewhere soon in order to get back ahead. But Stocilla's just too quick in a straight line. Oh, geez, it sounded like someone was spinning in the background. Not quick enough. Well, this is going to be very bad news for Sonam if he cannot get by, because now he's on better tyres, and if his opponent is now on the same strategy, that is not ideal for him. Right on the back of the Stocilla car, good traction for Sonam, but the Terminator has arrived. Jaws is on the back of this group. He will accelerate his way. So the Super is a weird car. It makes speed in the acceleration phase, but not so much in the top speed outright. So Frequency did not cut the chicane, cut the Eau Rouge Radion curbing last time, and was not penalised. Sonam not close enough. Oh, he'll have a look. He's able to outbrake, but Stocilla on the outside there will hang on, I think, and I think it's going to let Caliber through as well, and yes, it does. So a bit of door-to-door action there through Lake Coombe, and it lets Caliber in on Sonam. Sonam then loses ground as well, so he's now second off the lead, but Caliber's there and they will fight. So those two are going to battle. I think Caliber will cruise past Frequency at the start of the straight, and then Frequency will have to have an attack back at Caliber with his better tyre condition. This is not what Sonam needed. Coming out in the lead, he would have been very happy, and now he's been filtered back to third before the stops. Not ideal. He's probably a bit upset about the door-to-door contact. Ooh, Jose asking about rain. I don't know if it's getting darker because of cloud or getting darker because the sun is setting. I have no... the heads-up display is not showing me anything. Gee, Shadow, he's gone to softs for this stint and is a minute 40 off the lead. So that's a big loss for those guys. I'll sort of review where everyone finished, and I forgot... Stop paying attention for 5 seconds, and Caliber's got up the inside of Frequency. Frequency's run wide at Stavelo, and now Sonam is in second place. That'll serve me right for trying to listen to Jose. Damn. Sorry, everyone. And Frequency gets a 5/10 penalty for running wide and losing 2 spots. Gran Turismo was a perfectly coded game with no issues. Oh, Caliber runs wide there. Big slide, but is able to get away with it. He is now the effective leader of this race. Strategy aside, he is straight up the leader. The wind direction has now come fully around to be a northeast north. Yeah, northeast northerly. So it's basically a headwind all the way up the Kemmel Straight. So anyone with a top speed advantage will be wondering why their top speed is so low. And it is because there is now a massive headwind, which should make the slipstream more powerful, but when you pull out, you will lose so much more speed. But to Caliber, doesn't matter. He is so far ahead of Sonam already that there is no slipstream to give off. And somehow Sonam puts down a PB in Sector 1, despite the massive headwind that's cropped up. So Evil Dragon in from P5, and I think I saw RS Binko also in, both of them running softs, everyone running softs, bar... No, I think everyone's moved on to softs now. So I think there were some medium runners in the first stint, and first stint with this race. Oh, Caliber runs a little bit wide, has a big wobble. The tyres are letting go on him. It's getting tough for Caliber. He's working very hard with that tyre wear to stay in this race. Last week it looked very casual. This week it looks much tougher for him, but he's still got the pace advantage over everyone to make it happen. It now comes down to whether Sonam and Frequency have a different strategy to play out for them. And if Frequency can indeed swap onto this extended strategy, He ends up with a 2-lap undercut on Sonam every single lap, every single pit stop. And that's important because it means he will buy track position in every stop and force Sonam to then take it back from him. And that doesn't sound like a particularly big issue, but is actually huge when you have to fight someone on track every single stint if you want the supremacy. And that takes time out of your racing. So you lose lap time, you lose, you burn your tyres more, you end up with more degradation, and it weakens the advantage you had. Now we'll see Caliber come in. He has to come in. Will Frequency come in? He does. Okay, so he just took more fuel on that stop for some reason, whether or not to undercut in one of the next few stops, maybe to try and build a little bank of fuel as an advantage in order to potentially make a critical move at a critical point. So he has to fill up for 1.5 seconds less than Caliber. Potentially he was trying to save that advantage, but he's still doing the 7-lap stint. So Sonam on his strategy is now absolutely in a different race to these guys. On track they will fight, but I think Sonam on strategy is currently the race leader, as we see TSO40 moving back up in this pit cycle as he did last time. But I think Caliber will come out ahead of him this time. And Caliber indeed exits the pits. And we'll follow Stossila this time to see what happens. Yeah, I don't know how he got pinged last time. He must have somehow gone to the right or something. Anyway, TSO40 is third for the moment, but once strategy shakes out, he will end up behind the STS Frequency car, which means he might actually be real fourth place, as Mike is currently fifth, with Evil, who's just pitted on his slightly shorter strategy. Yeah, his shorter strategy will end up meaning that he actually has to pass Mike on track, who I think is, excuse me, oh, Frequency's gone to mediums, is he? Oh, well, Dane, good spot. That's something I normally pick up on. So Frequency's changing his strategy completely. He's got to 21 laps on the softs. He realizes he's getting beaten by Caliber on pace. He's getting beaten by Sonam on strategy. He's made a change. Everyone today has abandoned the medium. So potentially, I may have no idea, potentially he sees rain on the radar. He sees that it's about 10 laps away instead of 6. He's come in, put a full tank of petrol and gone to the mediums to try and save a pit stop for rain potentially, as the weather is on random. There is a chance of rain. You have to keep an eye on the radar as you are in the car driving, as no one else can tell you, because I can't tell you, as I don't have a radar. But that's a huge change for Frequency. They will now shift up the way they are going. I don't think that's the correct strategy, to be honest with you, but maybe it works out with 11 lap stops? Yeah, 11 lap stops maybe gets you there. If he does 10, then it makes no sense. He's just given himself a really weird strategy. Potentially this saves a pit stop over... Doing 2 stints of this saves a pit stop over the soft run, but I'm not sure. Anyway, so I think Mike is currently 5th, fighting to stay with Evil Dragon for the Full Throttle Racing team. This is going to be very interesting. The strategy, just like last week, has become very open and very very uncertain. So who's where is actually a bit of a question, as I do not know anymore. So in this moment, okay, so Mike pits. He couldn't do the extra laps. He's making a weird pit stop decision. So he's got an extra lap in here, but he needs to do an extra lap. He's only done 1 in 3 stints. So unless he can do that every stint, I think this is a very nothing strategy where he's carrying 20 litres of fuel for no reason and not really helping himself. Noxie will be right on top of him, though, with the Trailbike Racing team. But he's run wide as Fred Dude makes another attack. These two have probably been battling the entire time, and I haven't noticed, and I'm very sorry, guys, because AequepaX Racing and Trailbike Racing were very much protagonists last time out. So Mike with 91 litres of fuel, what kind of strategy is he trying to play? A 9-lap stint? And Fred makes the move inside, and then Trailbike gets a little shuffle wide with the lag. So I don't really understand what strategy Mike is on. Someone tell him to either run less fuel or do more laps with it, because carrying an extra 20 litres of fuel is making his tyres degrade worse, because the car is 16 kilos heavier through every braking zone, every traction zone, every single corner. It's probably an absolute ding-dong battle between these two, and I have missed all of it because I was paying attention to the wrong things. Looks like Noxie and Mike are close by, but Mike on fresh tyres should be able to pull away from the VRC racing car. These four are probably the closest on track, as I don't think TSO40 can keep up with Caliber, and Frequency is starting to drop time to the leaders on those mediums. Even those worn softs Sonam's got are pulling away from the brand new mediums, so I think Frequency might have played a strategy miscall, but who knows with the rain? It's getting darker and it looks like it's getting cloudier too, so maybe that was a strategy based on when the weather is coming. So the recap though, so AequepaX had a great first round, but it looks like looks like they had no driver in the first stint. Unless Fred did the first stint, so AequepaX Racing not scoring points in the first race, potentially. I'm not sure if Fred's doing both, I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, they did not classify for points in the first stint, so no points at 8th is a big blow to their championship, as we see Trailbreak Racing getting a slipstream, making a move into the bus stop, chicane, unable to make the braking move. Fred outbrakes him for AequepaX. And, the Trailbreak losing ground there. But they are hauling in the boys ahead. They are hauling in Mike and Noxie, VRC Racing, in the lovely black and white Porsche. So Mike on his brand new soft tyres, unable to pull away from Noxie, which is a little bit embarrassing. And that's probably because he's got all the extra weight in the car, making it much, much slower. Someone on the THG team let him know to take less fuel because it's costing him dearly. Had he taken the correct amount of fuel, he probably wouldn't be in this fight. But this is a real fight for P6, and they're all involved, even though up the back there, the Trailbreak Racing car just losing a bit of ground. But Mike pulling away, not really going that fast, because of this massive headwind. It's 4 meters per second, which is like 12 something k an hour. No, it's more than that. It's 14 kilometers, 15 k an hour basically. As Sonam pits at the front with those 5 safety litres of fuel, he's going to need to cut those out if he wants to go faster to try and keep up with Caliber. Caliber should come out in the lead, but Sonam will come out ahead of Frequency, no doubt. Alright, here we go. This battle pack is going to heat right on up as Fred has arrived on Noxie, and Noxie might still just be within slipstreaming distance of Mike. Never mind, Noxie runs wide. Puon touches the deadly green AstroTurf, is flung wide, loses the spot to Fred Dude and to the Trailbreak Racers, and now he's got dirty tyres. He has to be very careful not to fall off the road here. Excuse me. I just tried to breathe water. Spoiler, I can't. Anyway, Fred getting a much better run out of Savolo there than Mike, and then Mike runs wide, stuck on the green AstroTurf, and loses the spot, and he'll lose the spot, another spot here. So that's a very costly error by Mike. He needed to just stay calm, and he's looking in his mirrors instead of turning in for the corner, and he's made another mistake there, but he should still be ahead, but he will get past up the back straight, I think. The RX Vision is very good in a straight line, and the Trailbreak Racers are in great shape. Was that TSO40 in the chat? I just saw. Yeah, TSO40 says, the car is amazing on dead tyres, it suits his style. So TSO40 up in 5th place this week, having a much better run than last week. Loving the car on dead tyres. He's only 6 seconds behind Evil Dragon, who is on a different strategy, but it looks like he's extended his strategy out. So those two will potentially cross over with one different pit stop, and that might be enough. But for now, we're going to keep an eye on the fight for 7th place, formerly 6th place. Just not quite enough, even with the massive headwind. He's got 265 kilometers an hour in the slipstream. Not enough. Mike, not really taking apex there, running a bit deep. Mike, what are you doing, mate? You're defending fresh air. Oh, now they're side by side. That should never have been a fight. Come on, Mike. Disappointing. He's a better racer than that, and he knows it. He's got brand new tyres compared to the guys around him. needed to just execute here, and he's lost 4 seconds now to Fred. He's just missing apexes. Something's not right with that car. And now he's going to be able to have the trailbreak up the inside into Puan. He's going to have to give way there. You can't be serious. You're going to go side by side through Puan and holds on. That's impressive. A bit risky, but bloody impressive. Great racing from both drivers to give each other enough space to make that work. This is not Formula One, but the trailbreak racer around the outside in the start of Piff Paff gets it done. Mike will have the better run, but he doesn't get on the apex and is unable to capitalise. He will, however, have slipstream into the final chicane, but Mike is bleeding time here fighting these guys when he just needs to focus on what's in front of him and hit the apexes. And it's a bit disappointing, honestly, to see him miss so many apexes in a row, fighting people who aren't really in a position to overtake, leaving space for a car that isn't there, and misses the apex again in Blanchimont. It's just turn in. That's wild. Yeah, I agree with you, Jose. I think it's the extra weight from the fuel. It's just taking the car out of its comfort window. I'm pretty sure that McLaren got really good when it got light. But he just keeps putting in too much fuel, and it's just making the car uncomfortable when it's got good tyres. And then just as it wears the goodness out of the tyre, the car's weight comes back to him. He can't use the performance that's there. And, you know, that little strategy error where I was saying if he'd just taken less fuel, he wouldn't have been in this fight. He would have been clear of Fred. Fred's made his way back into 6th place from what felt like nowhere. He's come alive. He's doing 14.9s. He's actually quick now. So Fred, maybe some dramas, maybe some no practice, maybe the car's set up for this wind direction. That is actually, I'm being very harsh on Mike, but the wind direction plays a huge role on how the car is handling. So Mike's probably been testing in a wind direction that was the opposite way around. So he's braking early for the corners with now has a headwind instead of a tailwind. He's braking late for the corners where he normally could turn in and just make every apex the way he wanted. So Blanchimont is now a tailwind instead of a headwind potentially, and it's just messing him up because it's moved around massively since the start of the stint. It's increased its intensity. AequepaX letting us know that this week's victim of the lag pace drops, it's Fred, as Fred has been doing good laps, but unfortunately lag and stuttering is costing him pace, and that happened to Caliber last week. And that was why Caliber's lead shrunk in the second half of the race. We thought he was just chilling. He was, but he wasn't as slow as it looked over the stint. So it's now 5 seconds between TSO 40 and Evil Dragon, between Full Throttle cars and the first Humble Guys car. Yeah, okay, every lag spike is costing half a second. Do we know what's causing them? Is it me jumping around in the camera, or is it something else? So, people pitting, for example, could be what's causing it. It could just be the server lagging. So Caliber, 3.5 seconds ahead of Sonam at this point. But Caliber due in the end of the next lap. So 2 laps from here, 1.8 laps sort of thing from here. Sonam not due for a while. This is actually the fight for the lead, and THG are legitimately in this fight. Wouldn't have believed it after seeing the McLarens last week out, but they have made a huge turnaround overnight. Between the rounds. His teammate in the other McLaren actually had a great run as well, I believe. Oh, excuse me. Oh, jeez. I apologise. Oh, never mind. Sorry, EP3 was 11th. It was his. It was the other THG car that Mike is in. Excuse me. That was in 8th place, and Mike is also in 8th place. So a strong improvement for those guys. They were, I think, stuck 10th and 11th last time out. So those guys being 8th and currently 2nd, huge improvement from them week to week. Of course, that could be BOP and track specific, but it also could be just the THG boys getting on top of the McLaren after struggling early on. Noxie out of the pits on those mediums, still ahead of SMM Shadow for the Servo Motorsport car. They were very strong last time out, but Shadow's teammate was 9th in the first stint, so maybe the Servo Motorsport car just not working this week. Could also be some setup glitch where he's plugged the setup in and it hasn't taken, so he's driving a stock car and was trying to adapt to it and now doesn't have the pace as a result. Those are the kind of things that have been happening where jumping on track the wrong way causes the setup to be reset, and suddenly you go from a really nicely balanced car to a car that just doesn't do any of the things you want. and that could be why he is struggling. But that's a great new livery on that car with the zip up the middle, the split livery left to right. Big fan of that one when they announced that one, announced the livery update between rounds. Great work for the Sober Motorsport crew. We know Shadow's a great driver. We've seen him do some good things in the past, so they'll be looking to the next round for some payback. Hopefully steal another spot here today. Oh, a bit of a wobble in the middle, runs wide, out into the AstroTurf, into the grass, hangs on. So yeah, that car not looking as dialed in as it was last week. Tough break for those guys, as we see Evil Dragon for full throttle into the pits. So he's P5, potentially P4, could be as low as P6. It's all up, down, all around. As we see Fred, he will be in on the next lap. I think Fred's got a really big chance of fighting Evil for 5th place. So Fred looked nowhere early on, and then the legs cleared up for a couple of laps, and he's shown his true pace and his ability to go on with it to make his way back into this race. So the Trail Break boys were... Oh, they were 10th in the first stint, so 6th place, not what they wanted. They were hoping to move this car up towards the podium like they were last week to try and recover after a not great first stint. So another one that might have been brought unstuck by BOP or setup changes that haven't quite worked out. Tizo 40 in 4th. His teammates, Noir was 3rd once again. I'm pretty sure Noir was 3rd last week. But unfortunately, Dan Robbo, who was a great driver in round 1, no teammate in this stint. So unfortunately, they're getting a DNS and a DNF, basically no points for this second stint, I think, which is very disappointing for them. As Caliber comes in, Sonam takes back the lead. He's still got half a tank of fuel. It's getting darker. I don't know if that's cloud or sun, and it looks like it's cloud and sun, because the sun was very orange before, but the clouds have definitely arrived. So 1 hour and 5 minutes in, we are still 55 minutes away from finishing. That looks like clouds. There could be weather coming. So that gamble Frequency took to take mediums, maybe that was about the rain window, and it could have been a brilliant strategy plan to save a pit stop, because he is well clear of Caliber at this moment. So it's worked hugely for him if the rain arrives in the next couple of laps before he stops. Otherwise, it's a strategy change, and we'll have to see how it plays out. He's now 14 seconds behind Sonam and losing about a second a lap. So maybe the mediums are faster. We'll have to see if the medium strategy comes out. Very interesting, though, that we saw a couple of people starting mediums go to softs. Now we've seen people starting softs going to mediums. Runs a bit wide there, just keeps it out of the dirt. Nice and safe. Using all the road, trying to go as fast as possible. But once Fred pits, he loses ground to everyone around him. So Fred is going to be 8th when he exits, but he is right on the back of the train. Starts with the Trail Break car in 5th place. Has Mike in 6th, who really has lost ground to all those guys. And Evil Dragon, who's just come out of the pits in the previous lap, in 7th. So Evil will be looking to pass Mike. Mike will be hoping to have a pit stop advantage over VRC and Fred, but I don't think he does unless Mike's doing an 8th lap here. But based on his tyre wear, because he was fighting everyone and carrying all this extra fuel, I don't know if it's going to work out. Still on now, 15 seconds back, so could be interesting. I reckon it's gonna... Oh, that's not as cloudy, but it's coming. I just don't know where it's coming from. It could be raining here in the next half hour. It could be dry. It could just be teasing us. It could give us a little shower. And the answer is to stay on the slick tyres until it blows through. I don't know. I have not got a radar, and I can't get one, unfortunately. So have to hear from the teams if there is anything going on in terms of the weather radar and what they're expecting, what they're seeing. I'd say the Trailbake boys have to be in this lap on that tyre wear. Maybe he'll try for an extra lap. So he's already extended this he's extended his stint by 1 lap somewhere, because he's on lap 29, which is more than 4 sevens. Whether it was on this stint or the previous where he's done the extra lap, I'm not sure. I think it's on this stint. He's done an 8th lap here, and his tyres are not thanking him for it, but it looks like me shouting on about 8 laps. Everyone's jumped on the bandwagon to start doing 8-lap stints. I don't know if it's enough. I figure it's got to be worth a pit stop somewhere, but I'm just not sure where that pit stop is. And he does come in, as Mike also comes in. So, not good news for Mike. He's not on a strategy that's going to help him. He's basically on the 7-lap strategy with everyone else. And he's still got 28 litres of fuel over the top. That's... If he puts in the correct amount of fuel here, he comes out directly on top of the Troublemaker racing car. We will see if that happens, but I'm assuming the Troublemaker racing car potentially using a little bit less fuel as well. Who knows? We'll find out in a minute. Frequency keeping ground though there on Sonam with a 14.5 previous lap. Good lap. But I think he's made a mistake on this lap to not gain. Caliber 12 seconds down. TSO 40, he's almost got a pit stop in hand over Evil Dragon. Those two are going to have a ding-dong battle at the end of this one. Oh, but he runs wide. Just about chucks it off the track. But no, Mike with still gaining nothing in the pit stop, which means he's got far too much fuel. Yes, he does. Unless he's doing 8 laps, which I don't think he is, because he's pitted on lap 29, which is, he's done one 8-lap stint in 4, and that's just not a strategy that makes sense. So, Mike... confusing the strategy brain that I have going, as Shadow now chases down Noxian, and Binko is back in 11th place. How's he done that? He was driving so well at the start of this race. Oh, that's right, he had that horrible mistake and just punished him severely. I was so excited to see Binko racing at the front this week after last week being bullied by lag, really unfortunately, and then this week it's just not gone well. He had such good pace early on. But he too swapped to the mediums, so someone at VRC has let him know that Noxie on the mediums is going quicker than he did on the softs, and now he's jumped on the mediums. Shadow on the softs, wearing them out. Probably will get to Noxie and then have to pit, unfortunately for him. So we see Mike 1.5 seconds behind the Troublemaker Racing team, the all-Finnish team, and they're not having the best of days, but they're still fighting for every moment. Fred is 20 seconds behind Evil, and Evil now is destroying the lead TSO 40 has. And the wind has just moved back around to the east. It's now an east-northeasterly. It's moved another 45 degrees, and it's looking much darker. It's looking very cloudy in the distance there. Dane wants to shout out THC Car 3, which I believe is the one... driven by Mike. No, that's 95. Sonam's got a double-digit number. I don't know which one's 44. Thank you, Jose. I don't know which one's which, frankly. I should look this up. I have a document for that. I think Mike is 44. It is, in fact, yes. That is Sonam's car, the EP3. Substitute driver for EP3. Sonam, yes, correct, that is the leading car. I apologise. I'm not very literate because I can't read, apparently. I thought that said 90. Not even close. Anyway, we focus back on strategy for a minute. Sonam's lead is now out to 17.5 seconds. He owes us a stop, though, compared to the Storsilla Racing team. But not yet. He has to keep going. Hopefully he doesn't get caught out by rain on this strategy. For Stossilla's sake, he's hoping they do get caught out. His lead over Caliber is still 9.8 seconds. He hasn't lost as much ground as I was expecting, but it's the 14s, it's Caliber. He's just unstoppable when he gets a bit of clean air like this. Not saying he can't race, he just gets held up a slightly more when he's got someone to race compared to Cleaner, as we saw, making big moves, very decisive, getting them done nice and early, making sure he does not get held up by anyone for any period of time longer than he can. And that's the difference. That's why he's in this race right now, because he was cutthroat early on to get through the pack, and now he has got himself a little bit of time to make these moves. Still 48 minutes left. There's a couple of pit stops for most drivers left in this race. Probably 3 for the soft runners, 2 for some of the medium runners. Oh, excuse me. And TSO 40, his lead over Evil Dragon down to 27 seconds. He needs 6 more seconds to buy a pit stop. Oh, Dragon runs wide onto the AstroTurf, but the traction control keeps him alive. but a 16.9 is not a good lap for him. He lost time despite having a huge tyre advantage. As we see Fred Dude now with a 15.0 in that last lap, he's making inroads into Evil Dragon. So just a quick reminder, this is the AequepaX Racing GT World Endurance Championship, round 2 from Spa Franchorchamps. This is the second stint of 2 stints of this 4-hour race, 2 hours per stint, and it's a 2:14.4 for Fred Dude. It's a personal best, and he's now only 6/10 away from Caliber. This is the pace we were expecting from him after last week, being right on the doorstep of the Fast Boys, and now he's making huge inroads. The leg must have cleared up for him, and he is now attacking his way towards a top 5 finish. He's got the pace, and he should be stopping in a similar frame to Dragon. It's 16 seconds, but I think Dragon's got worse wear than him, so it's not going to be as tough as it seems. It's quicker than Caliber through Sector 1. As we see Sonam pitting on lap 32. This is all part of the THG Master Strategy Plan. I'm really hoping for those boys. They can pull one out after a really tough couple of rounds. It looks like they've turned things around, and Frequency's in. Frequency is in on the same lap as Sonam. He has bought himself the same strategy, but he's 18 seconds down. I don't quite... He's done 10 laps, which is normal. It just happens to put him on the same strategy as Sonam, but 18 seconds down. So maybe it was a gamble on the weather. It could be that he wants mediums now. We'll find out what he goes to. Bit of a fair amount of deg there too. And he's come out. He's got fueling. This is interesting. It's never over, Dane. This is endurance racing. It's not over till it's over. They look pretty quick, and it's only... He's gone back to the softs. So, either the experiment on mediums didn't work, or he took mediums for one stint to buy a pit stop. So now he's on the same strategy as Sonam, but he's only 18 seconds behind. He is not a full pit stop behind. So, brilliant strategy work from Frequency there to buy himself a pit stop. It's far cheaper to take 18 seconds loss on mediums for a stint versus an extra pit stop, which we know to be about 30-something seconds. Excuse me. It's not over until Jose sings. Thankfully, that means nothing is ever over because Jose will never sing. So the race leader is now SBM Caliber, as the team SBM with SOE. They were championship leaders, I believe, after the first round, and I'm on the wrong tab to try and read that. Yes, they were the championship leaders from Stossila Racing Team, with Full Throttle Racing in 3rd and AquepaX in 4th, and AquepaX also in 5th with THG Racing Team Humble Guys in 6th. So they are looking to defend their championship lead, and I think their teammates, Caliber's teammate, where is it? He had a good first run, I think. Yes, Kevin finished 6th. No one knows what that sounds like, Dane. I think you have some problems if you know what a cat being strangled sounds like, and you should see some help, my friend. It's a bit of... I know who Dane is in the background, so I'm just just stirring him up. All right, so back with the strategy race. We know Frequency was quicker than Sonam on those soft tyres and making a couple of seconds over the stint. So he will be now trying to find his way back in. Over the remaining 44 minutes, there'll be a couple of stints for these guys, so it's definitely not over. It's a long way from being over, as we see that TSO40 is also pitted. He would have done the same lap as Sonam. He's only 5 seconds behind Evil Dragon, but Evil Dragon owes us a stop soon. So I'd say TSO40 looking very good in that fight for 4th. He's making ground on these brand new tyres, and he has to. It's a big time for him. This is where he has to make the most ground on Evil Dragon in order to force that position change. So he's gone from 16.3s. His opponent's now doing 16.3s, but TSO40 on an outlap will not see his pace until the next one. Should make up at least a second here to try and close down that gap as the race comes to a close. And we can see Fred Dude not far behind either. He's only 8 seconds behind TSO40, which means it's 13. It's come down. about 3 seconds since we last checked in on that fight, but he is now well clear of the Trailbreak Racing team. Now that he's locked in on those 14s, now the lag must have just stopped punishing him at every opportunity. And we can see Mike is on that same strategy with them now, and he's looking at 8th place. I really thought he had a better strategy going, but apparently it was not to be. I thought he had the reverse strategy going of Sonam, where he runs 8s later in the race as opposed to earlier. As we can see, Noxie and Binko only a couple of seconds apart for the two VRC cars, the VRC Motorsport and the VRC Racing cars. The VRC Racing team in that lovely black and white Porsche, driven by Noxie at this point. His teammate, Guesty, was 7th in the first race, which is a good result for them. They needed some points after a pretty rough first weekend out. Their championship position was right on top of each other. They were 8th and 9th with 15 and 13th points. VRC Racing ahead of VRC Motorsport, and with VRC Motorsport trailing the VRC Racing car. So, of course, VRC is the virtual racing club, as the well-placed banners on that car remind us. They're their own community, and they love to go racing, and apparently love this endurance racing hosted by AXR Racing. Shout out again to Rob, Groot, and the whole team, Illusion as well, because Illusion, as the voice of the people, you'll love that, loves making sure that Groot is kept in check, even though, big slide, keeps it alive off the wall. It's a spin, but he's not in the wall. No damage, and he gets phased through by the VRC Motorsport car, and that will be a point swap between those two. And just as I was talking up how the VRC Racing team had the upper hand over the VRC Motorsport, it changes around, and Shadow for Super Motorsport, he's gone back to softs after running those, still running softs, sorry, after running those mediums earlier on. His race has not got any better for him. He's now being lapped almost by the leaders, but they will pit this lap and give him another opportunity to stay on the lead lap and in contention in case any dramas happen, any post-race penalties play out. You need to be on the same lap in order to be able to benefit from that, because it becomes almost impossible to sort of guess where laps are worth, and it gets a bit confusing and honestly messy. But that's Illusion's problem when we do the 24-hour races. He's done a very good job of it in the past. He'll be very much enjoying not having to combine stints for this series, but having to do some basic addition to work out who's got points and where they are. Just making sure, and there is some action as Evil Dragon, after his pit stop, is gazumped by Mike on the run up to Eau Rouge. And he will get slipstream, and he'll clear Mike later in this lap with his brand new tyres. Doesn't get slipstream in this lap. We'll just follow Calvin. Yeah, he has to pit looking at those fuel and definitely on tyres. Probably sneak another one out, but I don't think he wants to. And he is in on that strategy as we see Sonam coming through the final complex. Jose is correct. Illusion is a pretty cool guy. He might be a trash panda, but he's a real cool trash panda. Now Frequency should also get ahead of Caliber in this phase. Now he's back on the softs. His gap to the lead is 17.5 seconds. It hasn't really changed between his position and Sonam for THG. We'll go back and find Mike, who has got Evil Dragon 7/10 behind him. Caliber keeping that fuel mileage bang on the money, one apart, and Mike runs wide, and he'll have dirty tyres. And Evil Dragon goes straight through. Mike again, another mistake, another missed Apex, and that's not what THG like. And Mike's actually performed a couple of great stints for these AequepaX Racing Team events where he's performed above his car on a couple of occasions, and so it's a bit disappointing to see him making mistakes like that, because I know he's a much better driver than that. Potentially not much practice. They've got a couple of series going on, and he's come in on lap 35, which means he's done a 6-lap stint on this one, and he's got 30-something litres left. So Mike clearly not happy with something. Hopefully fixing the strategy in terms of fuel. I'm very confused what's going on there. But Fred Dude coming back out Not too far behind Evil. It should be about 12 seconds or something. It's 9, but he will, of course, lose time up this straight. So it's more like 10. So Fred is absolutely making a play on Evil Dragon. And we're expecting the Trailbreak Racing team to come in next time by. But those are wipers. Those are windscreen wipers. Is it raining? Is it raining? Mike is still on softs. He's just got brand new softs and a full tank of fuel. So I don't know what is going on at THG. Whoever's running these strategies, please, for the love of God, help. That's annoying. That is, it's like he heard me and thought, no, screw you. I will put as much fuel in the car as I can because I'll do my own strategy. Thank you very much. Mike clearly not taking any of my crap. He's gone with a full tank of fuel on the softs. I don't know what to make of that. I'm not trying anymore. I can't wait for TSO40 to get out and tell us what he thinks about that one. As I'm pretty sure TSO40 is the kind of mad lad to drive with a stream on so that he can get very much disturbed into a braking zone as someone says his name and draws his attention away from the very important braking zone he's entering. But he's 49 seconds off the lead of his teammate in THG Sonam. And they are on the same strategy, it seems. And we're expecting their next stop on lap 40. Which means we'll then expect their next stop on 48 or potentially 45, depending, 48 or 47, depending on where we think we are in the race and how many laps are remaining. Someone's going to have to run that calculation down at THG as we see Corey giving us the bodyguard spec. No! Adam loves 44. He's a huge Lewis Hamilton fan. As a Brit, he cannot stop talking about Lewis Hamilton. He's a big fan. Like, he has talked about Lewis Hamilton and how he's the biggest fan in the team of Lewis Hamilton. I am so looking... For the record, Adam is not a fan of Lewis Hamilton. I'm looking forward to just riling him up because he should be paying attention to the racing instead of looking at the stream. Flash your lights, have you heard that one, Adam? I think I saw them flash. Anyway, back to the race. Sorry, I'm making my own fun, which is probably not a good sign as we're in the real strategy part of the race, which is the part where I should be telling you what's going on. So, Sonam is currently leading this race, but Caliber will be ahead when the pit stop cycle comes around. However, Sonam does not owe us an extra pit stop to the end of the race. So between Sonam and Caliber, that's a real positional gap. But Caliber is the faster driver. He's doing 13s and 14s, which means he's taking a second and a bit a lap out of Sonam. There are still 34 minutes in this race, which means there's about 17 laps to go. And he's taking about a second a lap, which means he's about 6 seconds short. He needs to be taking just over a second a lap, and you can see he is taking just over a second a lap, which means by the end of this race, he will close in significantly on Sonam as their strategies play out. So this race is far from over. I need to just stay focused on this one because we are a long way out. Frequency, on the other hand, now has changed his strategy to match up with Sonam's with a medium stint. He is also making small inroads on Sonam to the tune of about a second or so this stint. But I think he's having to save a little bit of fuel, and it looks like he's saving tyres on this stint, which is why he hasn't made the same gains he normally has, because I think he's now trying to extend to 8 laps in order to make it to the end on the same strategy as Sonam, which means that one medium stint, cutting out a pit stop, is going to buy him, assuming he can do 8 lap stints, buy him a pit stop over Caliber for about 60% of the cost, meaning Caliber has to run both of them down. The difference is, Frequency is doing 14s? Yes, those are all 14s. I thought for a second that I had a glitch. So he's actually making ground on Sonam more aggressively than it looks. So he might have made a mistake on this lap as the tyres have come down, but he's doing 14, so he's doing a similar pace to Caliber, which means those two are sort of inching towards each other as they both reel in Sonam. So the top 3 are all looking to converge in the next half hour. THG TSO40 here is in 4th place, but he is barely a pit stop ahead of Evil Dragon. I don't think... So when TSO40 pits, he comes out behind Evil Dragon, but I think they both owe us the same number of stops because Evil Dragon hasn't been going as long on the stops. He's got an average stint length of 7 laps, which means he will have to take 1 extra pit stop compared to TSO40. So those two are legitimately locked in for 4 and 5 at this stage, except Fred Dude is right behind Evil Dragon. He's only 7 seconds down, and he's running 14s when he's not getting caught up by lag, but can run 15s, whereas Evil Dragon's running 15s and 16s. So Fred is closing in on Evil for 5th place. TSO40, barring any dramas or getting the strategy wrong and not taking enough fuel, should be locked into 4th place at this moment. But this is racing. This is endurance racing. Every corner of every lap matters, and if anything goes wrong on any of those corners or laps, it could mean a huge swing in terms of how this race is playing out. So the very recently pitted Trailbreak Racing team are in this fight with Evil Dragon and Fred. So Evil Dragon and Fred are going to owe us the same number of pit stops at the end for each other, but they are half a stint in compared to the Trailbreak Racing team. So the Trailbreak Racing team, with a pit stop in hand, should be ahead of Evil Dragon and Fred, but they haven't quite got the same pace as Fred. So that's this little battle pack basically lining up on top of itself, and you can see Mike here is on a very confusing strategy, but a strategy nonetheless, and he is just off the back of that fight. Unfortunately not able to keep up with them. However, I was going to say, it looks like Shadow's made huge inroads on the... Now he's come onto the soft tyres, but unfortunately Heroes is a pit stop this lap. So Mike should be clear of Shadow to the end, unless Mike needs an extra pit stop after Shadow takes this one, and then there is only 13 seconds between them. The VRC Motorsport car of Aris Binko, however, will take the position back off of Shadow when they pit on this lap, because Binko has very recently pitted. However, I don't know where they will shake out in terms of strategy, so VRC Motorsport may end up ahead, but have to do the overtaking on track with Shadow as they are... Oh geez, bang off the wall there. Fighting to stay in the same race. The VRC Racing car, which pitted the most recently, is less likely to have any pit stops to the end of the race. He probably, with 38 laps, has saved that pit stop. As we can see, the 3rd placed SBM Caliber up ahead. And Stossilla Racing Team are in the pits after a short stint, 7 laps. No, so he is not on the same strategy as Sonam. He has not bought a pit stop, I don't think. He's bought most of a pit stop, but not a full one. So he's now a lap out of sequence with Sonam. He needed to go the extra lap. It's not going to work for them. I thought that Frequency and the Stossilla Racing Team had bought themselves a pit stop, but they've only bought themselves 3 laps. They needed to buy themselves 4 or 5, I think. I think they needed to do 8 laps somewhere. Potentially they still can. I think that's still an option. But with half an hour remaining, there should be something like 14 laps to go. I think it's less than 15. I'd need someone to actually sit there and run the numbers for me. But I think they might be able to get to the end. It could be that they're getting to the end on 7 lap stints from here, and that's just enough where they cross the line at 2 hours and like 3 seconds or something. But I think Caliber and Sonam are now far enough ahead of that strategy that they will cross the line and need to do the extra lap. So they'll cross the line at 1 hour 59 and 55 seconds and then have to do the extra lap and fight each other for supremacy that way. So Sonam's lead is 20 seconds now. It's down to 20 seconds. And yeah, I'm just not sure if Stossilla are going to end up 1 lap short, or if they're going to cross the line right on the 2 hour mark and they've got this strategy perfect. Dane asking me, who would you say has the best livery? Ooh, that's a good question. I'm a big fan of the Sober Motorsport livery. I think that's great, frankly. I love the Stossilla boys choosing the Alpha and then making it silver. I like that a lot. I'm not allowed to say THG because I'm not allowed to say THG. Okay, so Sonam is now in. He's got that extra fuel. He's just get rid of that. All right, I think he can do 7-lap stints now. I think he can do 7-lap stints. So if Sonam only puts in 70 litres of fuel, we know that he thinks he can go to the end on 7-lap stints. And that will be enough, I think, to keep him ahead of Cowler, because it'll shorten his pit stop times and he won't have to worry about looking after tyres. They look quick on fuel, and it's less than 75, so he is now doing, it's 69, nice fuel strategy. He will now only do 7-lap stints to the end. And he has to now lap shadow as TSO40 comes in, so he's probably on the same THG strategy. So Frequency needs to find a lap somewhere if he wants to cut a lap out, assuming he's far enough up the road to have to do the extra lap. So it's a weird little one where saving tyres to give himself the extra lap might cost him the ability to start the extra lap. But if he starts the extra lap with no fuel, it's going to be a very long extra lap. Eagle Dragon will come out ahead, and I think Fred will come out right on top of the THG car. So it'll be the Supra and the Supra on top of each other, fighting for 5th place at this moment, but Fred will owe us a stop. The wind has obviously moved once again. It's now a west-southwesterly, 3.9 meters per second, which is slightly down. And yep, the AequepaX Racing Team car is up into 5th place, ahead of THG TSO40 for the Humble guys. But with strategy to play out, we'll see how that goes. And he can now see that Evil Dragon is only 5 seconds ahead of him. He's making inroads. He's got 26 more minutes to try and catch the Full Throttle Racing Team car in order to put some dent into their points lead, because Full Throttle Racing are ahead of AccuPax Racing at this stage in the championship by a couple of points. So big moment now for Fred to try and make that ground back. TSO40 just has to hang with these boys and stay safe, look after his car and make sure he comes in. But he's gone to mediums and taken a full tank of fuel. That's definitely not on the strategy list of things I wanted to see. Adam, what the hell are you doing? There are 14 laps left in this race-ish. Why have you gone to a strategy that makes no sense whatsoever? You want to go 10 laps? I don't know, whatever. That is actually a big moment for THG. This looked like 4th place on lock, but he's actually just cost himself a heap of time. Like, that is a massive strategic error, because he would have taken one stop to the finish either way. Now he's doing one stop where he spends 10 laps on mediums. I don't know if that's because he sees rain on the radar, because the clouds have come through and blown through. It is now sunny again. It is no longer cloudy and dark. So whatever rain might have been coming has apparently passed, but there could still be more coming in about 10 laps time, maybe, to explain this strategy from TSO40. He's going to have to go bloody fast on these mediums to not make this fall out. Like, this is huge. This is actually a big loss for him, because we're seeing 1.5 seconds a lap slower for the medium runners compared to the soft runners. And he does that for 10 laps. That's 15 seconds. So I'm really not sure what he's trying to do here, but this is going to be big, because he will lose time and he will not buy himself an extra pit stop. Sonam's lead over Frequency is down to 13.6 seconds. It's inching towards him. But Caliber is 10 seconds clear of Sonam, who will come out some 20 seconds behind him, but he will only come out 7, maybe 10 seconds behind Frequency. They're all just inching towards each other. There's just a little bit more pace in the Stocilla Racing Team than the THG car, but there's even more pace in the SBM by SOE car, driven by SBM Caliber 50. Sonam also dealing with a bit of lapped traffic. Okay, apparently I can't cycle through them anymore like you used to be able to. Great work. That was a good function where you could cycle through the cars instead of having to skip through them every second frame. But anyway, Caliber's in for what will be his second last pit stop. He will owe us one more, I think, and that will bring him to the end of the race. He's actually brought his pit stop in a little bit earlier. So Caliber does a short stop there. He's done a 6-lap stint instead of a 7-lap stint, because I think he only thinks there are 6-lap stints to the end. which means he will be a shorter pit stop. He will come out closer to the front than we think, and he will be undercutting aggressively now because he'll have brand new tyres and he'll be undercutting for a lap longer now compared to the Stossil Racing Team and THG Sonam. But it looks like, oh, I'm looking at the wrong car. Whoops, sorry. Looks like Frequency has gone through. Yes, he has. Caliber on the hunt, but he goes to mediums now. Mediums in a full tank. Maybe they all think it's doable from here on that fuel load. So with 22 minutes remaining, that is only 10 laps, isn't it? Oh, maybe. I don't know. I have to do the math. That's 10 laps. I think Caliber's done a great play here. The race pace maybe not been as fast as I think it is, but I feel like TSO40's gone early. I think Caliber's on the money here because it's 2 minutes 15, which is 2.25 minutes per lap, and that would mean it is 22.5 minutes left in this race, and there are 21 and a half minutes left. So Caliber going to mediums to cut out a pit stop. TSO40 needs to save a bunch of fuel to get there at the end. I don't think he can. I think he's made a huge misplay in the THG boys. He's also revving the pants off the car, and he needs to be shifting it earlier because that's how the Super runs at its fastest. The Super makes weird power, and you need to shift it early for some reason. It's better not shifting on the red line like some other cars are. So, yeah, someone let Adam know. He's been shifting it wrong the entire series. Anyway, STS Frequency, 13 seconds now, making inroads. It's just tightening up, so Caliber doesn't owe us an extra stop. Okay. So everyone owes us one stop to the finish. So Frequency knew that he had to do a medium stint. He did the medium stint earlier to make sure he was on softs at the end. He has a 12-second lead over Caliber, but he will have to come in one more time, which means he will come out 20 seconds behind Caliber and have to run him down on brand new softs versus old mediums. Sonam is sticking to his strategy on softs, which means that his position is a real position over Frequency at 13 seconds, and that gap is a real gap for the lead because he only owes us one more stop. He should be able to go to softs at this next stop, having cut a pit stop out of the race and run softs the entire time. So he may not... Oh, that was very weird driving. It looked like the AI had taken over. So he hasn't actually cut a pit stop out relative to Frequency and Caliber, but he skipped a medium stint, which has cost his opponents in the region of 20 seconds. 10 laps on 1.5 second lap slower tyres, and the mucking around of taking extra fuel and all the things that go with it. So the strategy might finally have played out. I don't know. It keeps changing. I keep trying to understand what's happening. So Stosilla may have actually cut a pit stop out by taking that medium stint. I thought they needed more than 4 laps extra, and they needed a 5th, but it looks like they will be okay to get to the start-finish line in the number of laps, the number of pit stops they desired, same as Caliber. But TSO40 is going to owe us a pit stop. So he's only 13 seconds ahead of the Trailbreak Racing Team, who are 5th at the moment. But when they take their pit stop, they will come in from softs, go back onto softs, and they will continue to hunt TSO40 down. He's doing 17s. His opponents are doing 15s. This is a huge moment for those boys. They've got 9 laps left, maybe 8 laps left, maybe, but they do not have that much fuel. So a massive miscalculation from the THG Racing Team here, going to mediums too early to try and finish the race out when they needed to come in for 2 stints either way, and they've chosen the wrong tyre. Hopefully he gets the message, comes in early for softs, as in instead of doing the full stint of 10 laps on mediums, comes in at 7 laps and goes back to the softs to finish out this race to try and stay ahead, because his opponents are closing. Evil Dragon has taken what is hopefully his last pit stop, and he's on mediums now. So he's taken his last pit stop, come in for mediums, and will run to the end. Fred has also come in for mediums and is on his last stop to the end. So when TSO40 pits for the last time, It's going to be very tight between him and Evil Dragon because he's gone to mediums. He's not pulling away now. He's actually going to end up behind Evil Dragon and potentially Fred. This is why these strategy moments matter so much. We can see it's 25 seconds back to Evil Dragon and it takes 33 for a stop. So he's going to come out basically on top of Fred and have to make some passes in the final phase because he's miscalculated how long the mediums and his fuel will last. Oh, this is drama for THG. That 4th place was on lock, and now he's looking at 7th place. Because when his opponent comes in, he will come in for soft tyres, brand new soft tyres, and will be hunting him down. This is terrible news for THG. They need to get on the horn to Adam and let him know that he needs to come in for softs the second he can get home on those tyres. Because this will absolutely murder his race, as everyone else will not pit again. I just don't understand why he's tried that one, but hey, this is endurance racing. Maybe he knows something I don't. Mike in the McLaren 650S, I think he will owe us another stop here. 17 minutes, it's going to be, well, it would have to be 8 laps. 7 laps from here, he might be very tight. He might be very tight, but I think he's about to be lapped by his teammate in Sonam, actually. Yeah, so we'll see both McLarens on track, nose to tail. Mike not having nearly as strong as a race, but they both will have to start one more time, so there's a good chance Mike will end up... Oh, sorry, Mike may not have to stop again. I'm sorry, I don't know. It'll be tight for him. Maybe his pace means he will cross the line at 2 hours and 1 second, and he knows that, but we don't know. So we'll see. Will Stossilla Racing teams pit this lap? No, he will go one more lap. They don't think they can do it on 7 laps. He'll take the extra lap here, go for softs one more time, and hopefully be able to chase down Caliber, who is doing 16s on these mediums. This is nowhere near the low 14s. He's 2 and a bit seconds slower. Maybe he had traffic on that previous lap, but the grip isn't there as the sun is setting. It's a 15.6. It's about the second half slower. So it's all up in the air. Sonam holding a 12-second lead. He will pit in the coming laps. He probably needs to box on this or the next lap. I'm not sure. He'll have to work it out. It has to be boxing this lap because there's less than 7 laps to go. There's 15 minutes left. So he boxes this lap, puts in the right amount of fuel, and it's job done. Which means I think TSO 40 should be thinking about that himself. He should come in this lap, pick up some softs, and do 15 minutes to the end. But he doesn't. Somebody please get Adam into the pits, unless he thinks he can go to the end. That's a lot of laps on that much fuel. He's going to either have to invent some fuel, or he's going to have to come in, and whatever he does, he needs to make that choice very soon. And there we see Trailbike Racing's in. Adam is now officially being undercut. He needs to come in and get softs. He cannot make it. The fuel isn't there, I don't think. He's done 5 laps so far and has burnt almost half his fuel, and he needs at least 6 more, probably 7. I think he needs 7 more laps. I don't think he's got the fuel to do it. It's going to be bloody tight if he gets to the end of this lap having only used enough fuel to get him to 12 laps. Oh, geez. It's going to be tight. I think he's only got 6 laps more fuel in this car. I don't think he's got 7 left. Oh, it's going to be tight. He's going to have to save some fuel, and by the look of his gear changes, he's not saving fuel. We will see that... Okay, so the Trailbike Racing team now out on fresh, soft tyres. That's him done to the end. He could fuel map it, Dane, but I think someone needs to tell him he needs to fuel map it because his calculations are not good at this point. As he is now 28 seconds ahead of Evil Dragon, and he could have been well clear on softs, not worrying about it. If he'd been on the softs, he would have been some 6 seconds further up the road. He could have come in and easily been ahead of Evil Dragon. Frequency comes in for his final pit stop. Sonam did not pit. He's letting himself get undercut. Now, these are the moments that matter. He will have fresher tyres at the end of the race if his opponents catch up. But it's much easier to just not let your opponents catch up by taking the earlier pit stop, not letting yourself get undercut by a second and a half, 2 seconds, makes the lead just a little bit more cushy, takes the pressure out of the situation. But we now see a very light, very fast Stossilla Racing team come out of the pit lane. He has got 13 minutes And that's far too much fuel for 13 minutes, unless he thinks we'll get... I've already shouted at him, pit Dane. I'm the one telling you that he needs to pit. He's got 13 minutes to catch up 15 seconds against Caliber. We saw Frequency doing 14s before, and Caliber's in the 15s. It's a second a lap, which means I think he'll halve the gap, but I don't think he'll get there. This is important, though. So Caliber will be ahead of Sonam. Sonam will box and be behind Caliber by a couple of seconds, depending on how much fuel there is. However, Sonam's going to have more pace on brand new soft tyres. He needed to be in the previous lap to stop Caliber from... Oh, maybe, hang on. No, his tyres are actually in okay condition. If he boxes this lap, he'll be okay, because he only needs 12 more minutes, which is 5 or 6 more laps. If he puts 6 laps of fuel in the car, it's job done, full attack, and he will come out right on top of Caliber. He'll be a second or two behind him and have to pass him on track, but he can do 14s, he can do 15s. Caliber is doing mid-15s. It's going to be tight. This race has come alive. He's quicker than Caliber at this stage, though, if he boxes now. Which he does. Rightio. Game on, ladies and gentlemen. This is for the win. Stossilla will be attacking from behind. Sonam will be attacking from behind. Caliber will have stolen the lead with this medium stint here at the death of this race. He will have 6 laps of fuel and about 11 minutes to do with it. Maybe it's 5 laps. It could be shorter. If it's only 5 laps, Sonam will have to make a very decisive move. Oh, Binko, great sportsmanship in the VRC Motorsport car, jumping out of the way of the leaders, recognizing that this is a critical moment for Caliber, that he cannot be held up. Still fueling for Sonam. Caliber takes the lead. Oh, Sonam exiting the pits. There they are. They are side by side on the exit of the first corner here. 5 tenths behind. Sonam will have to pass Caliber on the road if he wants to win. This is a huge moment for the THG boys, but he's got he's got a little bit more fuel in him. Binko, though, is running with him. He'll get a nice slipstream. Hopefully Binko doesn't make an attacking move, though, and just goes with him. So it's 1.5 seconds between first and second. And TSO40 has come into the pits for soft tyres, hopefully. He will come out very close to Fred Dude, who is fighting Evil Dragon at this moment. He's caught him. The medium short runners are battling. And that is a very important moment. That could have made a huge difference as to whether or not TSO40 can come in and get out ahead. He's got less fuel to put in at this moment. He's only got to put in 20 litres or something. There are only 5 laps left in this race, at most. Fred Dude makes the pass. He's up into 5th. Evil Dragon will be chased down by the Trailbreak Racing Team car. They've got 5 laps to make up 10 seconds on their brand new soft tyres. TSO40 is out of the pits on soft tyres. He's got enough fuel by the look of things, and he should be able to lock down 4th place. So, big scare there for the THG boys. He's 6 seconds clear of Fred Dude at this moment in time. But boy, it should have been far more. Very, very weird strategy there. Losing many seconds over the last 7 laps. He's probably lost 10 seconds and made that a lot tighter. But we go back to watching Sonam. He is now only 1.1 seconds behind Caliber. There are 9 minutes left. That is 4 laps of racing. So the race ended up being shorter than we thought. It's going to be 52 laps, I think. Maybe 51 instead of 53. Jose asking Mike, please don't overfuel. But Caliber on those mediums is still outperforming Sonam in the low speed. He does a 15.8. Sonam at 1.3 back now. He knows he can go faster than a 15.8. He's a good second a lap quicker on fresh tyres. He's also got a little bit less fuel. The car's going to be even lighter. Caliber's on worn mediums. Sonam should be able to outperform him, should be able to outbrake him, outturn him, get on the power sooner. But this is Caliber. The man is a driving genius. He won last time out without much effort. He has come from last to first here today. Had he started at the front, there is a good chance he would have been able to be fighting far further up the road than he is right now. But that was also a mistake earlier. It wasn't just him missing the grid, it was also a mistake. So now missing the apex there. He needs to hit every apex to try and take every 10th out of his opponent, because his opponent is such a formidable character. No mistakes from here, just trust in the tyre grip. We can see here that Fred now starting to lose ground on TSO40, who's pulling away on those new softs, but he's pulling away from Evil Dragon. And the Trailbreak Racing car, it's now 7 seconds. Those worn mediums for Evil Dragon, they are starting to give up lap time. They did 2-minute 20 laps in a row while fighting Fred. And that has ultimately cost them. They're doing 2:18s now on pace. It's another 2:20. The tyres are gone on the Full Throttle Racing car. The VRC boys, sorry, the Trailbreak Racing boys will be coming. We go back to the lead fight. Sonam now 5/10ths behind Caliber. He needs to stay in touch, get a good slipstream and make an authoritative pass and then stay ahead. So it's important here that he just stays close to Caliber. May not need to pass him just yet because he will get re-attacked up the run. Up at the Eau Rouge, up down the Camel Straight into Les Combes. So it's a question of Sonam, where does he make the pass? Does he take the first available opportunity when he's got the most grip to make the easiest, safest pass, or does he strategically wait to try and make sure that Caliber cannot fight back? It may not even be up to him. Caliber might just be so good that it doesn't matter. Caliber blocks. They're side by side into the bus stop. Sonam on the outside, unable to get it done. He gets a good exit though, and he stays within touching distance of Caliber. It's a 15-1, plays a 16-1. The race is officially on with 6 and a bit minutes to go. There are 3 laps left. Sonam gets a good run. He might even be too close to get a run up the straight. Caliber breaks the slipstream, pulls away, but I don't think Sonam's unhappy with it. I think Sonam wants to come from further back and get a much bigger run. A huge slipstream up the hill. Full throttle through Eau Rouge, no lifting. Takes the apexes nicely. He's now got the run. It's gaining. Down to 3/10ths. Down to 2.5 tenths. He's not gaining as fast as he'd like. I think he's in trouble. He's going to have to do a crazy round the outside move. He lost too much ground early on, and Caliber takes the racing line and outbreaks him. Worn mediums versus new softs, and he outdoes him. But Sonam's got so much more mechanical grip in the low speed here. Almost got enough. The dirty air just stopping him get through. I think Sonam has to make a great turn 1 and just launch a move on Caliber just to get alongside him. Just push him off his line in order to get this done. He's quicker in this middle section. Maybe they've got a bit of downforce on the McLaren and it's cost him the ability to overtake on the straights. Ooh, this is spicy. This is for the win here. Frequency is now 10 seconds back, closing with every lap as well. If these two fight too hard, Frequency may get involved. Can Sonam pull a surprise move? It's not really a surprise if you telegraph it like that. Caliber just too good. Look how worn those mediums are, and he's putting up a fight. Good track position. Oh, bit of lag there. Contact. Bit of side to side. Sonam should get a better run here. And he does, but he doesn't get alongside. He'll have to sit in the slipstream. Had to lift Caliber in the middle of Stavilo. It's 1.5 tenths. Caliber is just inching. Right, Sonam around the outside. 300ths back. Completely equal. He's in the lead. He's been pushed a little bit wide. Oh, they make contact on the way in. There's smoke off the road, but Caliber will launch an attack straight back. He has to. Sonam needs to get a really good exit. Oh, he goes deep. Caliber's going to be all over him up Eau Rouge. He needs to get a great exit out of the bus stop. Sorry, out of La Source and get a run up Eau Rouge. I think Caliber will re-attack him. He's going to force him narrow. Yes, Caliber up the inside. Bit of contact there, but it won't matter. Oh, pushes him wide though. Oh, Sonam will not be too happy with that. It's 3/10ths and he's losing ground. Sonam needs to get back in that slipstream and make sure to get a run up Eau Rouge and up the Camel Straight. I think Caliber's got him this lap. It's another lap wasted for Sonam. He gets 2 more attempts to make a move, and this is one of them. He's gaining, but it's not enough. Caliber is too fast down this straight. It's down to 1/10 though on that gear change. Big slipstream. Can Manos make a move? No. Sonam does not do so, but he's got a better line. Caliber was deep. Sonam trying so hard to try and make a move. Almost got enough. Just has to send one here. Feign one way, go the other. He'll never go around the outside of Bruxelles. He's thinking about it. It's not working. Caliber runs him out of road. And Sonam again goes back for the crisscross. Doesn't get it done. He might get it done here. That's a great run through Speaker's Corner. Almost enough room to get up the inside into Pouon. Goes to the inside, but that's never going to work if you weren't already alongside. He loses ground through Pouon in the dirty air off the wrong line. His tyres are, of course, getting worse by the lap relative to Caliber, but he still has plenty more grip. Stosilla is now only 5 seconds behind with 1 and a bit laps to go. They are not out of this yet. As we can see, the Trailbreak Racing Team car is right on the back of Evil Dragon, but we'll stay with the leaders. Oh, a big slide from there from Caliber. It's 1/10. Sonam should have the run here. Had to lift, I think, through Stavilo. Oh, he's not got the slipstream as aggressively this time by. I wonder if Caliber is low on fuel. Caliber is lower on fuel, but I don't think it's low enough to matter. They will get one more lap. I thought he might have been fuel mixing potentially to have lost ground on the previous lap. Caliber blocks the inside. This time Sonam tries to go on the outside, brakes a little earlier, gets it stopped, gets for the cutback, little slide. He should get a great exit here though, if he can just get to the inside of Caliber, force him off his line, and make sure that he gets a better run. And there's Stosilla! They are so close! Sonam unable to get Caliber off his line. He just has to focus on getting the best exit possible. Caliber with a wobble. It's 2/10 and closing. Now, Caliber will... Now, this is smart from Sonam. They have to try and time the run up Eau Rouge, but Caliber making sure he doesn't get the run, slows up before Eau Rouge, so that Sonam can't get a run. Which means that he will not have any overspeed to make a move. And he pulls out and then loses the overspeed. So this is bad news for Sonam. It's the last lap. He's got overlap. He's going to have to just go deep around the outside and pray that he gets given some space. He does go deep around the outside, but isn't given space, and it doesn't matter. Caliber holds on for the moment. Sonam is fighting for the win here, but Caliber is fighting for his life. He knows we can do this. He's such a good racer. Sonam's going to have to do something unexpected. That's the only way he's going to get Caliber. Because in a straight fight, Caliber has the straight line speed. He has the racecraft to place himself where he needs to. Doesn't get the run through Speaker's Corner this time by. Frequency is 4 seconds back. THG TSability 4th. Fred Dude 5th. The Trailbreak Racing Community boys are ahead of Full Throttle Racing for the final spot here in 6th place. Back to the leaders. People are going to be crossing the line, and it will be everyone in this fight should be the first people across the line. I think someone who's a lap down. It might be one of the VRC cars. Anyway, Sonam, he goes to the inside. Oh, bit of a late cover from Caliber. Caliber runs wide. Sonam does not get the run he needs. He takes a wider line through. Oh, Stosilla has a penalty. That's going to cost them. Sonam gets the slipstream. He has to do something. He has to find a way through with a bit of overspeed. It's 1/10. It's less than a 10th. He pulls out. He's now fully alongside, but the car isn't fast enough a straight line. But he now has the inside for the final corner. Oh, he gets pushed completely off the road. That's rude. He'll have dirty tyres and he'll probably get a penalty. But braking for the final corner, he takes the lead. Does he get the... Caliber tries to get the switchback, just to park on the apex, but he doesn't park on the apex and Caliber gets him. Well, that's a great way to finish the race. Sonam knows he had to stop the car on the final corner and couldn't do it. Caliber wins from Sonam, from STS Frequency for the Stosilla Racing Team. A huge comeback to only finish 4 seconds off the lead. We have THG Mike finishing in 8th place, a lap down. Oh, he actually wasn't a lap down at the time he finished, but the game hasn't let him finish. RS Binko for VRC Motorsport, just finishing 4 seconds ahead of the VRC Racing Team in 10th place. We are now following the... Sidemax Motorsport cars. Sidemax Motorsport is SMM. Oh, and he almost spins it. Great slide for Shadow Motorsport. As they finish 11th, they're happy to be done. That was absolutely incredible, and we should now see the rest of the field come through. 4th place for THG TS040 for the Humble Guys Racing Team. They are 2nd and 4th today. A great turnaround from their week 1. He's very pleased with that. 13 seconds back is Fred Dude from AequepaX Racing. A huge recovery drive from him. Dramas in the first few stints, lag, all sorts of problems, and he brings the car home 5th. A fantastic result for them. 6th place, it's the Trailbreak Racing Team, car 888, the wipers still going, still waiting for the rain that never came. And finally in 7th place, the Stint 1 winners, Evil Dragon for Full Throttle Racing. They ran out of tyres, they ran out of fuel, and they've ended up 7th. Boy, that was thrilling. Oh, I feel for Sonam. He had the strategy advantage, but couldn't get it done. And that's where he needed to take that shorter pit stop in the previous stint. He was doing 8-lap stints, and he needed to come in earlier instead of doing a 6-lap stint at the end. He needed to do those, needed to shorten those stints up because the net time loss was greater. And in the end, he was unable to make the time gain to get back past Caliber. And Caliber 50, SBM Caliber, wins once again in far more thrilling fashion this week. This is, of course, round 2 of AEquepaX Racing's GT World Endurance Championship. That is 2 Stint 2 victories for Caliber and SBM. They were leading the championship after round 1. They're probably still leading the championship after round 2 after a fantastic victory. Whether or not there was racing room given through Blanchimont there, dirty tyres for Sonam might have sent him deep, cost him the ability to stop for the second part of bus stop. We'll never know. That's up to THG to try and argue in court later on. But the winner on track, Caliber, with a fantastic defensive drive, holding out on worn mediums against a brand new soft tyre. Oh, thrilling racing. We said the strategy was coming together. And let's not discount the Stossila Racing team. Only 4 seconds back in the end. Fantastic recovery after taking their medium stint earlier in the race. Completely threw me for a loop on strategy. What a great finish. Oh, wow. Anyway, please check out the AEquepaX Racing Discord for further information on the series. We will have round 3 in 2 weeks' time on the 29th of October from, I believe, it is another real-world venue in Mount Panorama, Bathurst. So the Australian track, the one on the crazy big mountain with 113 metres of elevation from top to bottom. It'll be a 3-hour race. Evil Dragon, can I sleep now? TSO 40, nope. Will be a 3-hour race, so 90-minute stints for round 3 of the AEquepaX Racing GT World Endurance Championship. Start time for the first stint will be the same. The start time for this second stint will be half an hour earlier. I thank you all for coming. Thank you everyone for racing. Once again, thanks to AEquepaX Racing and AXR Groot for running this series. This has been a fantastic event. The championship position will be updated post stewards' inquiries and whatnot. I tried to do a provisional one last time. It was a bad idea. I've been your host, StigCC, for this stint of commentary. We've had Thingamajig in the previous stints, I believe, and we will have a different commentator, I believe, next week as well. So next time out. So thank you all once again for watching. Thank you everyone again for driving. Thank you Caliber, Sonam, Frequency, putting on a great show at the front. TSO 40 for mixing up the strategy and scaring the hell out of me. Fred Dude for that recovery. The Finnish boys of Trail Break Racing for putting on a show, making the most of it when it all didn't go well. Full Throttle Racing for just having some shocking luck and really spicing up the championship in that midfield, ending up with 7th. THG Mike, another THG car. The VRC, the Virtual Racing Club community, the racing team and the motorsport team. And of course, Shadow Motorsports, who didn't have the best of races today, but still pushed through to the finish despite everything going wrong for them today. Thank you all for coming. I'm StigCC. This is the AEquepaX Racing GT World Endurance Championship. I'll see you all next time.